dominate. Oh, lights go down, the street lights up. FPS fire horror creeping up. Multiplayer vibes, we rolling deep. Awesome friends, no time for sleep. Welcome to the mayor's game, where the shots are sharp and the thrills insane. Squads on deck, we never play tame. Mr. Mayor's live, remember the name. Jump scares, clutch plays, chaos reigns. Laughs and legends in every frame. From haunted halls to battle zones, we own the night, the streams are thrown. One shot, one scream, one epic win. You never know what world you're in, but with Mr. Mayor, it's always lit. So hit that follow, don't you quit. Don't you quit. Welcome to the mayor's game, where the squad's too strong and the vibe's untamed. FPS heat, horror in the frame. Mr. Mayor's live, let's light that flame! Step into the shadows. The mayor awaits. Lock in, squad up. It's time to dominate. Oh, lights go down, the street lights up. FPS fire horror creeping up. Multiplayer vibes, we rolling deep. Awesome friends, no time for sleep. Welcome to the mayor's game, where the shots are sharp and the thrills insane. Squads on deck, we never play tame. Mr. Mayor's live, remember the name. Jump scares, clutch plays, chaos reigns. Laughs and legends in every frame. From haunted halls to battle zones, we own the night, the streams are thrown. One shot, one scream, one epic win. You never know what world you're in, but with Mr. Mayor, it's always lit. So hit that follow, don't you quit. Don't you quit. Welcome to the mayor's game, where the squad's too strong and the vibe's untamed. FPS heat, horror in the frame. Mr. Mayor's live, let's light that flame!
Hey guys, welcome in. How you guys all doing? We're back. Gonna be trying out a new game. I only have a couple weeks to try it out before my subscription runs out. So if I like it, I will buy it. Let's see how it goes. I also want to test some things out here. I don't know if it's gonna work, but sort of stress testing my stream. I want to make sure that it all looked good. Appreciate you guys for coming in. Feel free to check in when you come in. I do support anonymous followers and lurkers, so if you're out there and you don't want to chat, feel comfortable to sit back and just watch. All right, I think this should work. Hey, Hantu, welcome in. I don't know if my game's gonna work or not. How you doing? I don't know if it's gonna load or whatnot. Come on. There you go. Getting a little hot in here. I'm not feeling well, but I made some effort to get in and get on. Oh, sorry. I am removing some clothes. I'm boiling. All right, there you go. So this game is going to be a first walkthrough for me. I have never played it before. I've seen it. I've loaded it up just to make sure it loads up all right on my PC, but I don't know how it's going to show on stream. Let's hope it works. I'm stressed. Had a horrible day, but I've been home for a few hours. Apparently, Amanda, welcome in. How you doing? Appreciate you being here. How's your morning been? It's been like, it must be like 10 a.m. for you. Something like that. Ponsu, it's 11:30 or 11:23. But like I said, I made an effort. I'm here. I don't think you can hear the game right now because I have it muted. So there you go. I'll turn that down a little bit. I'm gonna mute you and lurk because I'm editing before stream, but here to support my friend. No worries. I appreciate you being here. Oh damn, I thought we were 6 hours. Well, you guys had time change, right? I don't think not long ago. I'll mute the game here so you can hear me better. I think you guys had time change not long ago, and there you go. You can see me better. And I don't know how it works over on your end. I think you guys change in like 2 hours or not 2 hours, but 2 weeks, if I have that right. Just looking back at my stream here on my phone, it doesn't look like it's working smoothly. Something like that, like 2 weeks or something. If you guys are doing the time change in like the UK. So we did ours. Oh, yours is March 29th. We did ours last week. All right, let's see if this game works before I just sit here and then realize I want to play it and it doesn't go. So new game. Like I said, I've never played it. I just loaded it up to make sure that all the settings are correct. I have the difficulty on easy because it won't let me change it. So it knows that I'm a noob. And then the maximum frame rate, I have to turn that up because I noticed that doesn't make a difference if I have it lower or higher. So button mapping will change. We'll go back there. Even the game, yes, the game thinks I'm a noob. I know. Hey, let's go. You redeem first. You like that rain? I've added a few new things. I don't know if they all work, but we will see. I know I have like music redemption, but I gotta turn that off actually. So just bear with me. right. That should be gone now. Because I don't have music playing in the background, so. Toba, welcome in, buddy. How you doing? Nice to see you. It's Friday. I'm here. I'm on. I agree. Nah, knock it off. I haven't even played the game yet. I guess you could say I'm all right. I'm catching a cold, I believe. My kids are getting sick, so that's not good, but I took a day off to sit here and hang out with you guys and try this game. I don't know what it's about. We're gonna go through it. If I don't like it, I'll switch. You guys know me. I game hop until I find something I enjoy. I do have a bunch of things open at the moment. I don't know how the stream looks to you guys. I hope everything looks clear, but I might have to close a window or two. Or even close my Discord because I'm not using it. I will lurk since I'm reading and relaxing after a horrible day. No worries, no worries. I know you just finished work. Don't mind the lurkers. Don't mind you guys. You guys are all great. Appreciate you guys. I'm just closing some windows here to optimize everything. Everything looks good. Okay, awesome. Well, I haven't started playing yet, so I don't know if it's gonna look good. So I don't know why. I'm gonna put it on normal so it's a balance. We always play normal unless I find something too difficult and I end up switching, but let's try to keep it simple. I don't know why.
Madam, sir, the ship lies at anchor off New Eden. A tender stands at your disposal.
I dreamed of clouds. Great long fluffy bastards. Low over the sea.
No worries. For a second, I don't know if it's working all right, but
in the darkest reaches of the deepest ocean.
A good day to you, my love.
And a good day to you too.
Are we in New England?
Welcome to America.
welcome to America. Nice.
Something's bothering you.
Charles's letter.
I don't think we have any Americans in the chat.
The ghost must be uncommonly dangerous, or he would banish it himself.
And we shall charge him double.
I'm serious. If the Reverend needs help, this can be no easy business. Red, you best be ready.
I'll be careful, Master Duarte. Your apprentice stands ready to serve.
So I don't know what kind of game it is. I think it's
Come
like a
on, tell me
story
to go.
/ RPG.
Rory McWraith, gallant to the last.
Life to the living. Death.
Technically,
to the
I'm
dead.
dual, but I could just say I'm Canadian. Just
Consider
cause.
our lovers, Antea and Red, the greatest banishers.
Well,
I
you say
ever knew.
you're Canadian because you're in.
Life to the living, we say, and death to the dead. It is not so simple. Since the dawn of humanity, the dead have lingered. Dead as alive, we are complex and emotional beings. Many and tangled are the ties that
Is
bind.
the game outputting all right? I don't
Since
know.
the beginning of memory,
it seems okay.
banishers have fought to sever those ties. Death is but a trifle. It comes to us all. To haunt or be haunted. There lies the true horror.
Looks good. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for the feedback.
I, Charles Davenport, should know it. The haunting of New Eden scared me to death. I dearly wish I had not begged my friends to come and lift the curse.
If this is June, I'd
Have
hate
you
to
seen
see
this game
January.
before, Toba?
I want to freeze my backside off in the summertime.
I have it on Game Pass right now. That's why I'm playing it.
London wasn't much
The
better.
subscription ends in like 2 weeks, so I wanted to make sure I tried all these games out before
And twice as white.
I'm not able to. But for some
don't
reason,
mind
I've been
saying
into
it,
all these
I'm
story
very
type games
disappointed.
in the
Charles
last
wasn't
few
lying.
weeks.
New Eden is cold as death.
Seems like I get to
You may
play
well be
and watch a movie.
disappointed.
Or I'm in charge of the movie, right? But I have no idea what they're searching. I think they're searching for some ghosts. Could be wrong. I canceled my subscription a long time ago. This was only like a,
With a hot grog.
I think it was like a 3-month
two.
thing I bought from Costco. My kid wanted to play some games on Game Pass.
I think I weary of long, boring sea voyages to grim, faraway lands.
So I said, well, we'll get it
Can't
for you.
remember the last
But
time we
after
did
3
something
months, it's
else than
over.
work.
After this,
Oh, it looked like a
safe
minute there. Like,
somewhere warm and safe.
I still have no idea if it looks
The dead don't linger.
good. I know there's some moments in the game where it's going to be glitchy.
But it's not a bad idea.
I don't know why it does that. It did that off stream too. Maybe if I just don't move
Have I
so
mentioned
quick.
How grim this place is.
I heard you the first time, but I don't disagree.
I'm looking into trying to get a better GPU. Or if I can, one day upgrade and get a new PC. Alright, so push L forward. I'm using controller, by the way. These games, I feel that I don't play them so well on keyboard. Alright, so I'm trying to go to where?
I think
That
we can
flag
get
on the
through here.
top.
Sure.
I just built a new PC, but it used my old
traipsing through the
GPU.
rotten, falling down house.
Was it? I could only imagine it was a bigger upgrade.
Looks
Oh.
steady enough.
How do I get in there?
Watch out!
Whoa, watch out. What's going on? You want me to get in and you...
Ugh,
No, come on.
it's me, or are we not welcome here?
Keep going.
I wanted to future-proof a
I'll find a
little
way to
before
meet up
prices
with
go...
you.
Yeah, did you see
Already
the
there,
prices?
apprentices.
Like even the prices of SSDs right now. Oh my god.
I can break my way through here.
RB to break through. Okay. I want to see what this is. Let's take that. Oh, nice. Can I... Okay, so only here? What am I breaking through? RB to break through elements. But then she puts away her sword. Like, I feel that the SSD that I have, I bought it for like $200 Canadian. And now it's like 400 and something dollars. I'm like, that's crazy. I don't know what's going on with the prices. I don't think they're ever gonna go back lower, but okay, what do I do? Like, I can't get in there. So he's gone. I gotta go down, right? I gotta reach New Eden Town. When you're stuck at the first part of the game. What was crouch? That was crouch? No, that's run. Like, I'm using all these things, but what am I breaking? And I can't go down, so. Okay. I have to go through there. I gotta go around. The card that I was looking into getting was a 5070. It's only the 12 gig, but I wanted the TI version, but I don't know. 16 gigs. I don't know if I can justify a little bit more. Do I?
Call this
Okay,
a fight.
so oh, one of these kind of games. Oh, so you gotta only press it one time to lock it.
Everything all right down there?
Just a sneaky wanderer.
I hope
You?
so. Yeah,
So,
everything seems okay.
Alright. Are these specters watching the road?
What do we do here?
But are they keeping people outside town? Or are they keeping them in?
I think I still need to go around, right? Nice. Nice. Cove, welcome in. I followed you off of Threads. Nice for you to show up. I appreciate that. How are you doing? How's your day? I don't usually come on at this time, so anybody who knows me, I'm just really random right now. I don't really have a schedule, but I'm trying to mark it closer to the evening, Eastern time. I don't know, 7, 8-ish. Actually, there's a decent deal on Newegg right now. 9800 3D CPU. Oh, no way. 1429. That sounds like a really good deal. Of course, I'm doing great. I'm trying to support other streamers while I'm off work. Oh, for sure. I appreciate you there, Cove. Cove Cherry.
Oh, more
My eyes are not very good today. I'm so tired. I haven't been feeling good for the last 2 days, but I've been telling myself, I just need to get on. I need to get on. Who behind you? Me?
easy as falling off a box.
I guess that's my my partner I need to go and meet up with.
The original settlers, perhaps.
Whoever, this doesn't bode well.
All right, let's go down. Oh, there's another one. So who am I capturing? I don't know. Attacking with your weapons fills the banish gauge. When the banish gauge is full, press A to banish your target. Oh, okay.
Time to leave for good.
Oh, sweet. So I guess I'm like capturing their spirits in this game. But knowing me, I'm gonna forget to look at the gauge and just continue on. I'm running on 3 hours. I think, yikes, I'm tired too. Right? It's so hard. I don't know. I feel like everybody, I don't know if you, where you are, but we've had time change. And I know, and I don't usually get affected by it. But this time round, I have no idea. Like, there's just something going on. I don't know why my shoutouts are not working. And when I'm manually entering them, my chat is not working. Oh, you were playing Dead by Daylight last. I can just see it from that little here. I always like that game, but I can never get any better. I'm barely affected by it, but I work at 3 to 11. Oh, you got the afternoon shift. So when do you sleep? During the day or right after you get out of work? Looks like there's going to be an ad break coming up soon, guys. I don't know how to stop these things. Hopefully it's a little short. Right after work. Okay, because I have a friend who works like evening shift also. He gets off a little bit earlier, but he says he can't sleep right after. He has so much energy. Me personally, I don't have an afternoon shift. I work during the day. So I get home and I get to relax a little and then play with my kids and off to bed I go. If I have enough time or energy, I try to hop on a stream. But I do appreciate everybody being here. That makes me feel more comfortable and wanting to get on more often. I think the last time I was on was like 2 weeks ago. It's crazy. I'm normally a night owl, but I guess I get so tired after work. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Work drains you like crazy. I have these words, lots of time, but I must write them down. The date. I cannot say. I know it's the time, month of June, years 1695. Thought we would be safer in Providence. I thought we would finally see the children again, and the golden wheat fields would ring with their laughter. Their mother now lies dead. I shall join her soon.
These people
Just
left
a
Newington
little
town
note.
just a few days ago. What exactly is going on here?
For anybody who's new in here, I've never played this game before. I have no idea what it's about. So feel free if you've seen the gameplay in this game or you have any tips on how to locate and how to get something done. I don't mind backseating in my my stream. I want everybody to feel comfortable and welcome. You guys think I'm doing something wrong in the game? Shout me out. Wow, what's going on with the game?
Nothing in my pockets.
That didn't work. I tried to do like the magic potion thing, but it wasn't working. Jesus, what? I have to sit a little bit closer to the screen. I work as a caregiver for disabled people, and typically I do the same 5 things every day for 8 hours a day. That's wild. 5 things, 8 hours. But I guess it's good in a way, right? Because you become very comfortable to the position that you do. So you can almost say that you can do it with your eyes closed. For me, it's very similar to at work. I enter data, I pay invoices, I go through certain documents, and you know, it's just like a revolving circle of tasks that you need to do. Sometimes you get the odd new requests that you're like, I've never seen this before. What do I do? But I feel the more you know your job, the better you can be at it, even if it's repetitive. I feel every job out there is very repetitive, which comes to me with streaming. It's not. Every time I get on, something new happens. Oh, can't pick that up.
That augurs badly for the case.
Well, there you go.
Situation's worse than you thought.
I made it with my
Let's wait to
buddy.
hear what Charles has to say.
Empty docks in a growing settlement. Never a good sign.
I think you guys are in ads, so this would be a good time for me to pause here. I want to check something out. Bear with me here. I'm still here hanging out. Just gonna change it to this screen here so you guys can see me better, and if you guys want to just chat. But I want to know why my commands are not working. I think I may have turned it off. Chat commands, the default or custom. Oh, it's on. That's weird. Turned it off. Now I turned it back on. Okay. Do that. No, I kid you not. It's maybe I get a curveball behavior here and there, but otherwise it's like one. We go to the gas station to get his Coke Zero to the day, listen to country and gospel music, cook dinner, more music. I draw while he talks. I listen, goes to sleep, rinse and repeat. I don't know. Well, I guess it would be different, right? Because you deal with people. I guess it would be different, like being repetitive as for doing other tasks. Like I don't deal with people. I deal with a lot of paperwork in my job. I'm gonna shout you out again. I just want to see if it works. I tend to do this every time I stream. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's working. My on-screen animation works. I also want to see this. Hold on, there you go. I don't know why it wasn't connected, but that's new to me. He's very sweet, and he's also intellectual, disabled, so his routine is really important to him. I get that. I get that. I know some people in general, like day-to-day life. Go back here. I know for some people, day-to-day life, if you change and alter their schedule just a little bit, like it's It's not good.
Are the Crown Selectmen
I'll just say
sitting
that.
on their arses?
There you
Isn't
go.
that what
Maybe now it
selectmen
works.
do?
Oh, there you go. Okay, so it still doesn't work how I want it to work, but that's okay. Caregiving, though, it's I give it to you guys for the ones
When
that
we
can
get to
handle it and
town,
do it.
We may need to
Some
split
people
up
say it's easy, it's
cover the
natural,
ground.
but
You may count on the most
taking care of
responsible
people. I have
steward
kids,
Banisher could have.
and they're small,
We'll see if you remember some of your teaching.
and it's still not
If you're
easy.
up for it.
So I can only imagine if they're older or if they're disabled, that you say. I don't know if I'd be able to handle. I'd be able to do it for a few days maybe, but I don't know. I give it to you though. Supposed to be able to run, so there you go. I made it to the town.
The welcoming committee.
Let's find the inn. Let's find Charles.
If you guys are noticing some glitching,
It'll be good to
it's
see
not the
Charles and
stream,
Esther
it's the
again.
game.
Would you a lecture on the sanctity of
I'm
marriage?
seeing it on my screen too. I don't know why. Pretty woman, let's do this.
Esther wouldn't dare. And we don't need a piece of paper to keep us together.
Aye, I remember you.
You have to
telling
reach the location of your current objective. Your compass now indicates that you are inside of an area of investigation. Look for the inn. Davenport at the inn. Am I supposed to go in there? Let's check it out. I keep pressing that button. I don't know where I'm going. Where's... When I was here, it showed on the compass that I was here. Still here, I'm lurking. No worries, Pontu. I do appreciate you hanging out, though. I never get to see you. I think I talk to you more than I see. Get on here. Oh, I gotta come here. Inn. Docks. Cemetery. So I need to go up here. Yeah, I know how to take direction. I feel this with
This
these
must be the inn.
first walkthrough of these games when you don't know what you're doing. I remember back a couple months ago, I used to stream games that I had no idea what I was doing, and it would overwhelm me. Now, it's just like, let's take it easy. Let's check things out. Chat will help me if I need. If I stop responding, I've officially passed. No worries, no worries. I like talking to you, by the way. It's fun. It's fun, and I do appreciate you finding me over on Threads and coming on over to say hi.
Please come in.
I know a lot of people when they meet you or they see you,
I'm
they
the
just
help.
want to lurk for a little
She's
while
the
too,
boss.
and I don't
You're not
mind that,
Charles.
but I do appreciate you saying hi.
My
It's
name
nice.
is Antea Duarte. This is my partner, Red McWraith. Good day to you, sirs, madam.
If you do pass out,
Now,
I hope you have a good sleep.
where's Charles?
Minister Davenport said help was on its way. I
Keep
assumed...
digging, Fairfax. Good day. Pennington, captain of the train band. This here is Thickskin Newsmith. We're the selectmen.
What's left of us? Why is Charles not here?
We're sorry for your loss. We'll do what we can for his widow.
I
Reverend's
wanted
dead.
to try to summon the ghosts,
When? How?
send them back to me,
Terrible
but
tragedy. Though our faith sustains us, we are still very much in shock.
Our shock at Reverend Davenport's killing is so great that we must sit here in comfort, losing precious time.
As governor,
hey, let's go with the follow. I do appreciate that.
Sat here waiting to meet the same fate. We could all be miles away by now. You lot do what you want. I intend living.
The esteemed select woman can be broached,
Welcome in. How you doing?
and rest assured that her aptitudes far outweigh her manners, or lack thereof.
Her point still stands, Fairfax.
New game to me here. I'm
Sitting
just
here, doing
first
nothing.
walkthrough.
We are as lambs to the slaughter.
The Banishers are here. Surely, with their expertise, we may yet prevail.
Everything seems a
Then I
little
shall
delayed
leave
here.
You and your expertise in ghosts and devils to find out. My expertise in blood and battle is of little use.
I'm
Mr.
doing
Strahd,
well. I actually, well, to be honest with you, I'm not doing well. I'm getting sick,
Yous
but
may visit me at home.
feeling
On the
energy
other
wise,
side of
I'm
the
okay.
street.
I'm okay.
As it
I'm
were.
on. I'm streaming. I haven't lost my voice yet.
Well, Governor, shall you leave?
So
or
that's a
shall
good
you
thing.
stay?
For myself, I'll stay.
And I'm playing games that I've never seen before.
Company has
So
suffered terribly,
I think there's a win for everything.
but we are worth saving. And now that you are here, save
How's
it we
work going
shall.
for you?
Please, accept my sincerest condolences for the loss of your
Yeah,
friend.
I hope the sickness doesn't drag
feel
on. I know
loss
the
in
last time I
our
had it was like a
instincts.
cold and then it ended up turning into like strep throat. I had it for
Charles Davenport
few
was a
weeks
man of
longer than I
great
should have.
knowledge and devotion.
but I think this
Pride
one's
in
coming along pretty quick, and
It discommodes me
I only felt
greatly
bad
to
like the last
remember
2
how we
days.
found his body in the
Today
cemetery.
feels a little bit better, knowing it's
Indeed,
Friday.
It distresses me yet further to tell you that we do not know what so tragically cost him his life.
Could your physicians not save him?
Would that we had a physician left.
There's a lot of
It made no
influenza and A
difference.
and B running around.
Charles was
I
dead when
know,
we found
I
him,
know.
and we do not know how.
I think
or
in my
why.
workplace they had
Two among our company
had mentioned
knowledge of
that
the
if
physics,
anybody's feeling sick,
purples,
to
they
stay
said,
home or work from
rupture,
home if you can.
strangery, or sadness.
It's so
guesses or-
bad this time of
As
year,
a
like
man of science in New
the
Eden,
weather changing,
I
temperature.
stand alone. You see, in my
Working
youth,
is dra-
I too
work is
was
dragging a
something
bit,
of
but
a
there's so much to do.
demonologist. Rather a good one.
Have you
if I
had
say so myself.
you ever had so
We're
much
not
to do that
demonologists,
you wanted to
and
take a
neither
nap
was
instead?
Charles. Is his widow
Yes,
Esther taking
every day.
visitors?
The widow Davenport
I have
is at home
kids
and
that
does not
go
much
go go
venture
go.
out.
So when I'm done work, I'm
household
on
looks
like
the
parent
door.
duty.
I offered
And
Charles a
some
home
days,
with a
like
view
my kids are
across
a little bit
pretty
older, but
meadow,
they're still not able
he
to watch
refused.
themselves.
He preferred the village life.
So like the other day, like
Speak to her.
before I keep going and not hear the game, like the other day when I was talking to my daughter, I was like, "You play your game. Give me 5 minutes," and 5 minutes I was gone. Knocked right out. Took a nap. She woke me up like 10 minutes later. Hey, did you hear what I said? No idea.
If she'll see you.
Good times though. Like
She
your
knows no
mind,
more
I
than
know
we
for
do about
everybody.
How her husband died.
Lately, it just feels like it's go 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 go. Why is the town so empty?
Why is town so empty?
Of those who did not die, we are the few who stayed. Though our motivations may differ, all who remain have shown
I took a
extraordinary
nap
faith
once and
and
woke up the
courage
next
in the
day.
face of our adversity.
I like that. I like that.
Those who left, where did they go?
I used to do that
Outlying settlements.
when I had
Everywhere,
a later
everywhere.
shift job.
Although, as you may have heard,
Well,
the weather has likely closed
evening.
the roads.
I got off at like 8
Some
o'clock at night.
believe the path
Went to
through
bed.
the dark woods offers salvation.
I'm
do
CST, which is still getting
not.
used
I
to.
believe we must stand our ground.
Oh, that must be hard. Moving to a location where time changed.
Will they return when the curse is
That would
lifted?
be very
I
difficult.
fervently hope so.
For me, Eastern
They have
time,
homes here,
so used to it.
But we sent the children away some time ago, and many could not live with their absence.
My mom lives on the west
If we do
end
not resolve
of the
this
country,
situation quickly,
so 3 hours behind.
community of New Eden
I
shall be
went there
broken.
once to visit,
Perhaps
and I was
forever.
just, my mind was, I couldn't cope with it.
You're a demonologist, you say?
Yeah, disorienting for
I
sure.
am that, like my father was before me. Faith and science are our twin compasses, you see, to a deeper understanding of the secrets of God's green and pleasant land. And
I didn't
those
know
who
you were
threaten it.
PST.
And what have your
D?
compasses told you about the curse?
For some
They have
reason, I
told
kept
me-
thinking you were Eastern time.
They have told me that Reverend Davenport was better placed than I to solve our problem, which is why you're here. We agreed it. I shall stand for the company, I said, as the moral authority, the anchor. and the
Oh, now
rock,
you're there. Okay.
as Charles and his banishers
Good to know.
lift the curse.
Perhaps I'll
We may
come
to you for advice.
for advice.
Please do, madam, for I would be only too glad to give it.
About the curse.
What can you tell me about the curse?
I can tell
So
you
we did
that
all
it
this
has been our
talking,
misery
and now
for
we're
many long
asking
months
about the
now.
curse.
And I can tell you that it worsens by the increment. First, there was pestilence and disease.
We'll see where life takes me,
Came
of course.
nightmares. Then came madness. In the end came death.
What do I use for my shoutouts? I don't know what it.
But
Oh, I
in
gotta
all
look into
honesty,
that. I've had everything set up for the longest time. Right now, I'm just
weather
using my
is the
stream deck,
worst part. This never
which is connected to my
hangs heavy on us all.
Twitch.
Worse yet, it traps
But I've
us
had
in.
so many. I was using Wisebot. I was using. I don't know, one wizard one. I don't remember the name. I've set them up so long ago. I apologize. I can't remember. I'll have to look into that. Because I know some things are not working. I usually have a text that comes through the chat.
What do you think caused the curse?
In my humble opinion,
At one point, I had
point to
like
the obvious.
the clips that
The
played,
abyss disgorges
but
its
found out a lot of
spawn
people
upon
didn't like
Eden,
that
bent on making
because it was
God's poor
distracting. It also
creatures suffer.
distracted me. So I was
As
just,
to the nature
I don't
of the
know.
demon,
Things come on, things come
what we
off, and some
failed
things
to
don't work.
find out.
But
our late friend Charles faced a Herculean task and acquitted himself with honor.
I sometimes have to remember
You
what I'm
have to
using.
do far better
Right?
than
And that's
that,
what I like. When I get on, I just press and
Our
I hope for the
contract
best
stands.
sometimes. It's
You'll
only
have
when
it.
there's an update
Yes.
that's when I really go
Our
back into
contract
everything to make sure
stands.
it's all connected.
Charles.
All right. For Charles. Thank you.
I did a
We
lot
have
of
what we
talking with
need.
this guy.
Then I wish you success. By my instruction, a room is
Thank you.
prepared for you in the old schoolhouse. I'll be here if you need me.
I think I'd go a little crazy with a plugin that plays a clip every time. I don't know. It's I feel some people like it, but some people don't. But to me, I find like the timing sometimes when you're in a good part of the game, because I also reuse my content to create clips and stuff. So when I'm shouting people out, if I want to like capture the center of the gameplay, that's where I had the clips, right? And it would take away from that. So I don't know. For me, I try to keep it as clean as possible. And I do appreciate D for following me, because now I know that I originally wanted to make my follows anonymous. So even on that, like, it shouted him out. Which I apologize if you didn't want me to know, if you didn't want people to know. But I now know I need to go back into that and remove that portion. I feel there's more and more viewers that are trying to connect but don't want to, I don't know, draw attention, I guess you want to say. And I understand that. Some people don't want to be known. But I always tell everybody, I do appreciate you guys if you guys are here to chat, even if it's for a minute. Come in, say hi. You know, always nice to see everybody. Especially for me, I don't come on very often, but I want to try to make a regular schedule on this. I tell people all the time, but it's just time for me. I missed some chat. Let me go back. It's some brain rot stim of the week, and I wonder why I've been eating the same thing every day. I don't really mind being known. I mean, I'm trying. Well, yeah, if you're trying to get your name out there, right? But there's a lot of people that don't stream, I found. And they're just like, no, we just like watching, but don't shout us out because we don't stream. I'm like, okay, I do understand that aspect. It doesn't matter to me since you know who I am already. And I'm still unknown by everyone else. Well, we're only trying, right, D? We're trying to get ourselves named out there a little bit better. I haven't done this very long. Like, I've been streaming for 2 years, but I've taken a half-year break, so... Can you say that I've done this for a long time? Not really. Have I been really consistent with it? Not really either, but... I am trying to get back. I want to get to know people.
Damn it, Charles.
Join into their games, join in the streams if they have those options, but...
Only we'd been here earlier.
You know, I think I'm pretty interactive with people, and
another day,
I try to be transparent. I tell you if I can make it or not. I know there's some people out there that like to beat around the bush, but no, not me.
These people have no idea what they're up against.
If I can't make it, I can't make it, you know. But I do appreciate it. I have an unfollows for the same reason, and also had a bot that wasn't working with the program, and a bit. Yeah, back to that. Like I gotta shut that off. I gotta write a note, or maybe when I take a break. When I do, meet Esther Davenport at her house. Where's her house?
Said that house stood above the docks.
Her house is up there. It's been a while, but I'm trying to get back into it. You are very interactive, and yes, it is cozy here so far.
Thick skin, right? We're sorry to disturb you.
It'll take more than you to disturb me. What do you want?
I try, right? I can only say I try. Mind you, if there was nobody in here, I'd probably be talking to myself, but I do that quite well too. Or I'll narrate the game. Right now, I'm just running through it. Like, I know, can you say that I'm really paying attention to it? Yes, but no at the same time. I know what's happening in the game though. Do you intend to leave?
I take it you intend to leave town.
Bloody right I do. New Eden is dying, and anyone who stays is dead or deranged.
Yes, Cove, if you stream, I'll have to hit you back. Or I'll have to get you back. No hope at all.
There's no hope for New Eden then?
Not till the weather changes, and it don't look like changing.
There's
I did
no
that already.
hope for New Eden.
I didn't know you can click it again.
Not till the weather changes, and it don't look like
Oops.
changing.
Yeah,
Will
it
you
seems
go
very
alone?
fun so far. I like
Take your
it.
sister and
I like
anyone
that
else who
there's like a
wishes.
story to it, and
You'll
you're
not
not
come through
just
if you
running
wish.
through.
You look like you can handle yourself.
I can handle myself. What's your role?
here, if you don't mind me asking?
Pay
Lately,
attention.
I do what needs
Watching.
doing when no one else will, weakened as they are by comfort and the curse.
But it's just so
In
exciting
normal
to chat
times,
with
I
everybody,
wouldn't.
right? Especially when you
Now,
don't come
though,
on very often. You're like,
cold enough
hey,
to
there's
feast
people
any
here.
monkeys off an horse,
You guys
and
are
the
here
game
to
rots
see
as
me?
quick as you can get it home. You can't eat a ghost.
I should do a
can't
just
kill
chatting
it,
stream
can't
and
sell
just
it.
sit
So
there
what would
and
be the use?
Tell me all about it. About the curse.
So, the curse. What do you think is going on?
I think nothing much about it. I think folk sickened and the crops failed. I think folk went mad, and I know we found the Reverend dead.
What of the captain?
Now there's a man of worth. Without Saul Pennington, there'd be no town left at all. These last months have been hard on him. I hope his mettle holds. If I had my way, he'd be coming with us. I don't give a rat's knacks for loyalty, but the captain does.
Governor
What of the
Haskell.
governor? Anything I should know?
That useless clackwagger. With Davenport dead, godly folk look to be led. Fairfax Haskell couldn't be happier. I pity he'll get them all killed.
Maybe I'll stream tonight. It's my day off. You should. You should. Sorry, I had to take a call. I'm back. Welcome back. Never feel that you need to apologize in here. If you have to go, take a call. You gotta step out to grab a bite to eat. You
Well
know,
then,
feel free. I want everybody
you
to
for your
feel
help.
welcomed.
Aye.
There's never an expectation for you to hang around longer than you have. But if you're here, you guys are awesome. And that's my goal. I want to try to get in streaming here more often, that just to get people, you know, to feel comfortable. I know there's a lot of streamers out there where they have viewers, but then the viewers don't want to stay because of certain issues. But for me, I tell everybody, you know, you're here for me, you're here for your friends. You know, if there's somebody that you don't like, you know, you don't have to talk to them. Jason, you're on the lurk. No worries. What time is it over there? It's like dinner time for you. Am I going the right way? Hope you're doing all right, buddy. Good to see you on Twitch. I have one freed hand from a fake nail to okay. It's all right.
Antea, Red. Come in. I've barely slept for fear you would not come. I'm at a loss. Would God even allow me to drag you into these dark times?
Esther, you're not alone now.
I like the
We here.
graphics in this game.
I'm so sorry we didn't get here on time.
Mind you, I have my settings on lower than usual, but it still looks
Charles kept
amazing.
saying it.
I hope it's all coming out great for you guys on your end.
They will come. If only he had kept his faith himself.
What happened to him?
Poor Charles.
Oh, and feel free to check in if you
Just
guys are
one
in
more
here.
victim of the
I have
curse
set
of
up some
New
channel
England.
points,
You know how he
redemptions
is.
if you want.
Was. Restless.
I think there's one that's
Impatient.
I don't know, like a boost juice or something.
It's not that he gave up on you.
It does
His
capture
friends.
how many times you come to see me,
But
so
that he
that's
could
always
wait
great to know.
No more. I believe he tried to lift the curse. I too have questions, but I have no answers.
As for the channel points, I have no idea if they work or not,
Nor
but
do I now have a husband.
feel free if you guys collected enough.
What can
Feel
you
free
tell
to
me
use
about
them.
the esteemed Governor Haskell?
Fairfax Haskell is well read and
Yeah,
educated.
it looks like there's going to be another ad coming
but at
through.
times his back can be too stiff.
I never
he
know if it
shares
actually
Charles'
works or
interest
not,
in
the
the
ads.
unknown.
They say it plays, but
But his passion seems less than practical. He's an academic.
Still,
There you
good to
go.
know our
Nice, it
patron
worked.
has some understanding of our work. We met the
Awesome.
captain
I appreciate
too,
you guys.
along with the huntress, Thickskin. Do you know them?
I find Thickskin.
Did you guys hear like a
Neesmith's
ding dong
manner
on the
a little
other end?
frightening, but I think she has a good heart. A fine hunter by all accounts. Captain Pennington comes with a reputation for soldiering.
Awesome.
He comports himself with a wry dignity, but I suspect that beneath it all, he's just sad. Charles thought so too. There are wounds beneath Saul Pennington's armor, he said, that time and God have not yet healed.
How were things before?
How were things, before all this?
Before the curse,
It was busy.
it was a busy and
Exciting time. Nice.
Charles immersed himself in the community here. He had a hand in everything. The people came to rely on him. I'm sure they look to someone else now, but I can't imagine it's the same.
Is there anything we should know about?
Lord, deliver me, for I cannot endure this. I cannot endure it, and Charles does not deserve it.
Anything at all, Esther?
I think you guys are in ads now.
I have
Don't
felt
worry, you're not
Charles'
missing anything in the
presence
game.
above the house. His ghost lingers. He needs help.
If he's here, I promise I will know no rest until he has his.
You can count on us.
We'll start with the house.
Charles's papers are gathered in his office. Take what you need.
Thank you, Esther.
All right, goodbye. Thank
We'll
you.
Take a look around, if that's all right.
We're just hunting ghosts. I'm trying to find
Yeah,
my
you
way
have.
around.
You stay put. We'll find the way.
You have unlocked your first hint that contains important information about the person it's linked to. You can refer to these hints at any given moment. Okay. A new Scotch tune in G major by Henry Purcell. Can I click it? Oh, can't click it.
Purcell. Could
Purcell.
you find nothing better?
These days I lack the heart to play.
Can't believe you brought your pianoforte to New
You
England.
want me to look at
They cost
everything
a fortune.
to understand why a
cannot
ghost lingers in the
part a pianist from their
impersonate?
beloved keys.
You must. I missed it. What did it say? This was a bundle of letters from Charles. You guys want to read that? Beloved Esther. How I long to hold you in my arms. The announcement of marriage was to my heart. Sorry, I don't usually read out loud. I gotta get used to that too. I'll let us sweet. At last we shall be together forever and ever, till the day many years from now we are old and at last death separates us. Oh. I want everything to be perfect for our marriage, and I will make it so. I will write you every day until that blessed moment when I can finally shed the weight of letters and tell you in person every day how I feel about you. I am thinking of you. You know what? I'm thinking of everybody who's here right now. This letter couldn't have said it any better. Here's another letter. I don't want to read all of it. Can I save them somehow? Take a picture of it? I'm just supposed to search here. They say quick playthrough. That's what I'm trying to do. Quick playthrough. The 12th day. I think
How
all of
pleasant
these
to see these
collects
old
in my
familiar things
backpack.
from your house in London. That porcelain saw many a dinner turned lecture with Charles.
Devotion
Believe
to
in
chat.
So do we, Esther.
We're supposed to go upstairs. I think so. I think. Investigate the bedroom.
Charles is still here and Esther is completely distraught.
She
This-
lost him.
this
and
is
now
the
he's
bedroom.
Back, a ghastly figure.
Take
It
that.
must be unbearable.
What'd I take? Where do nightmares come from? Here, I'll go really slow so you can read the VOD when I have it back up. So you can read it. Oh, I didn't know I had this. Play all these games and you don't know that you have these things. So I think within time I can craft some weapons.
Remember how they used to argue about books we hadn't read? Like we weren't there?
Oh, you actually listened. I'd always let my mind wander.
Charles is dead. That's how it starts off. All those letters that he wrote and now he's dead. Oh no. I can not tell right from left, not tell which day it is or how long ago my child departed. My world has come undone. Nothing happened as it was supposed to. I could not attend the burial. The shame of it. How I feel, my dear husband. I could just not find the strength to leave the house and walk to the place where Charles died, there to see him buried. Lord, have mercy on us and guide our friends to us before it's too late. New Eden will not last much longer without my beloved husband to protect it. I do not have any words left in me, but I thought you do. You who loved him so know of his passing.
Esther couldn't attend Charles's burial.
Poor woman. That's terrible for her.
Esther never got to say farewell to Charles.
She didn't.
Could have made him manifest.
Maybe. But there has to be more to it.
Where's the study room? Here. So I gotta look at all these things.
Always was his beacon in the darkness.
In people as much as in God. He's a good man.
For anybody who's new in here and sees this logo up here flashing through, it's a campaign that I'm running through. It's called Streamer DAP. It does help you monetize your stream if anybody is curious. You guys want to sign up in the chat box here. You sign up. It is a referral only program.
I can still
mention my name in the referral.
You sound much more fond of the moment now than you were back then.
And you'll be on your way to monetizing your stream. You do get campaigns from certain vendors depending on what you choose and how you want to promote. But you do have to put a little logo like that, about that same size, on your screen. And they do pay. And if you look into my my about section, I am also part of their stream team, so it is a legit program that I am in.
Charles's notes mention Job chapter 7.
I do like to mention it because a lot of people do stream. And there's a lot of people that say,
Red,
I'm in it for the good times, but hey, if you can make a couple bucks just doing what you love without having to ask people for any bits or any subs, you know, it's always nice. And does a little logo like that really affect your gameplay? Not for me. Bye, Mr. Mayor. Enjoy the rest of your stream. Have to go. No worries, Jason. I appreciate you coming in. I will talk to you later, though. Hope you feel better. It is Friday. If anybody does play Marvel Rivals, our buddy Jason here, he plays that. I don't play it personally, but it'd be nice to see some people connecting with some people.
Remember when he started to wear these to look wiser and older?
Oh my god, I do. Nice. Maybe then, Cove, you can teach me? Imagine, welcome in. Love some Marvel Rivals. I'm actually working on cosplay for it. Oh, sweet. Cosplay to stream it and show it, hopefully. I'm going to pick up more tomorrow. Nice, nice. I do like that you were on, Majin. You did well. I just looked up and you finished. That game looks really really fun. And another thing in my channel here and my stream, feel free to share a little bit about yourselves if you guys are streamers, what types of games you play. You know, I like people to connect with each other.
These notes are erratic ramblings.
The only
Charles
one
was
rule I
worried
do
about
have
the
for
curse
myself is to
plaguing the settlers'
not tell me that
dreams.
you're streaming, because
How malicious is this?
as much as I want to know that you're on,
Charles's
know,
ghost might give us answers.
it's
We
hard for
should
me to say I
investigate the
want to
cemetery
help
where
and
he
support
was
you when
found.
I'm on. But I would love to hear if everybody does stream and if everybody could help support each other, you know, one time or another. Either with a follow, a lurk, or, you know, just come say hi. I never try to force anybody to follow anybody. It's up to everybody's preference to do so. You know, I always say, and I learned this, well, not recently, but I've learned it. Not everybody's cup of tea is everybody's cup of tea. So sometimes you want some sugar in it. Some people like their cream. So not made for everybody, but sometimes you can just chat with people, which is always nice. But don't ever feel obligated that you need to follow people. I find that's the best way of growth. Check people out, see what they're about. That's why for me, I try to come on periodically, put up a VOD or two, get some clips. At least you can see what I'm about in my chat, or well, my previous stream if you miss me. And I try to put myself out there on other
Charles always wore this
platforms.
brooch.
His things are untouched.
You know,
Nothing's moved.
I don't like to fake it. I do have a flaw though. I do get really genuinely happy when people come in and, you know, it puts a nice warm spot here. Thurius, welcome in. How you doing, buddy? What we playing today? All my friends are coming through. You guys are awesome. I saw you made a clip in my... I did. There was a nice spot that I liked. And I was just like, oh, that's awesome. I had to do that.
Are you leaving already?
No, I'm not leaving yet.
We need to investigate the cemetery.
No, I want to look at the house some more. Come on. I'm not ready to leave yet. I'm trying to read off my stream deck. The font is so small. I can't see it. Good, working mostly on life stuff. I hear you, buddy. I've done way too much life stuff on for stream, and now I'm here trying to test it out.
If he's present,
Playing the games that I
find
don't
him.
know. You know
Then
how it is.
We'll ask him what he wants us to do.
Must I see him too?
Oh, and I
First,
don't. It
let's
doesn't
find
work very
out
well
what
right now,
happened.
but
After that, we'll see.
Best get started.
that doesn't work either.
Time
What's going
may
on?
be against us.
If you guys enter exclamation mark check in space and then your location, it puts a little ping on the globe on my
You be all right?
just chatting screen.
I doubt it.
Feel
But I'll
free
do
to
my
do
work all
so
the
if you
same.
guys are comfortable.
We
If
came
not,
here
no
to
worries.
Help Charles and help Charles with Shal.
I do have a Discord also, but that doesn't seem like it's working.
Ask around. See what people will tell you.
None
I'll
of
go to
my
the cemetery and do the same.
anything. It's always nice, right?
Be careful.
Help, 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 help. My boyfriend
Aye.
just yanked me
You
in
too.
his sleep. I was half asleep. as you said, when playing Dawn of Defiance, trying to get keys to all the games. So working on that. Nice. You're trying to get the keys. I'm trying to get the keys to work. To find the location on your map, objective, open your map. Oh, there you go. Now I know how to navigate. Thurius, I give it to you, man. You play all these games. I don't know how you keep up to knowing all the buttons. Because I tried to be a variety streamer and it doesn't play out very well. Right now I am. I don't have a choice, I say, because I have a little subscription happening and it's going to expire soon, so I play what I can. But after that, I think I'm going to go back to regular schedule. Play some Fortnite. And then the odd multiplayer action games that you can get with your friends. And it looks like I found a new friend that plays Dead by Daylight, so maybe one day we can connect. Have a go at that.
This fire can't have started on its own.
Nope.
Not in this cold.
We'll jump over. I have some leather now. What can I craft? Where does the crafting come in? That's really bugging me that I don't have any commands that are working. Like my shoutouts and my checking. Nothing seems. It's just so basic. I think basic is good sometimes, but come on. Thurius was playing Star Wars Lego last. I have a few titles of Star Wars or Lego. You know, one of those you start and never finish. All right, I gotta go back and investigate the cemetery. That's what it wanted me to do to begin with. I saw a bunch of boxes I just wanted to get to. How do we get there? A piece of 8. What is a piece of 8? It almost sounded like something else. Piece of 8. Yes, he was. I was sitting in his chat. I was on a video call, so I couldn't type in chat, but was watching. Aren't we all, Toba? We're not in a video chat. We're in a meeting. If we're not in a meeting, we're doing something.
Be warned. I need but cry out, and help shall come in an instant.
Calm you, sir. Antea Duarte, Minister Davenport's banisher.
Oh, of course. I'm so sorry. Poor Reverend Davenport. His death has shaken us all. Welcome to New Eden. I'm afraid you find us at our worst.
We're banishers. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. And
I hope the gameplay is coming out all right for you guys on your end.
Squire Sincere Paris, traveling merchant, stuck in this cursed place and eager to be somewhere else.
I know I did change some settings in OBS, hoping they were for the best, but so it seems like the 3 ones with the little dot are what they want me to ask. So I always ask
care to trade
what they don't want first,
already packed,
just so I can hear them talk a little bit more. Want to trade? Leather. I don't want to buy, I want to sell. I sell. What can I sell though? Oh, let's try keeping them in case. Maybe.
Tell me about the curse, if you will.
I'll tell you this. Those who dare defy the curse are brave indeed, and, I fear, foolish.
Banishing is a job, sir. And to do it, I need detail. If you please.
A banisher must have charms.
Imagine if you're still here. Have you played this game before?
If you have a surplus, I'd happily relieve you of your burden.
That's not how it works. I investigate hauntings, and when I know why the ghost is here and
I'm
where
always
it hides, I banish
interested to
it.
know if people have seen this
Do
game.
not sell trinkets.
What about those rings you wear?
I made them. They are mine. They only have power if the wearer has training.
Do you have bad dreams?
The nightmares. Do you get them too?
Of course I do. Not everyone will admit it, but we all have bad dreams.
Of what do you dream?
I dream someone watches me sleep. I sometimes fancy she's present when I'm awake. She never speaks, nor moves. She seems to wish me no harm. She
Well,
just
that's
stands
nice.
there, watching me,
I don't wish anybody to watch me sleep.
taking my measure.
Does she manifest
I'd be a little
at
freaked out
particular
that,
hour?
you know, I'm laying there
If she
and
does,
sleeping
I have
away.
no way of knowing it. Unable as we are in this interminable grey to tell
Oh,
day
we got
from
somebody
night.
watching?
Well, there you are. Information on the curse
Don't
as
want that to
per
happen.
your request. I won't even charge you for it.
You're leaving town?
As soon as possible. Did you arrive by sea?
No.
A ship lies at anchor in the bay. Perhaps a captain would take me and my wares to safety.
The crew refused to dock, and I suspect they'll leave on the next available tide. We rowed ourselves ashore.
Might I ask where you abandoned this rowboat of yours?
Along the coast, by a
Along the
path
coast.
remarkable for its angry specters and bloody corpses. If you wish to make the sailing, I hope your wares can swim.
Show me your
Care to
wares.
trade?
I don't want to trade.
Most of my goods are already packed.
Do I
but
have to
never
trade?
refuse a deal.
Okay, let's trade. I know I didn't want to, but what is this thing? Resource. Okay. Let's sell. This one seems like it has the most, the flower, so let's sell that. How many? Just one. Okay, there. I sold.
I bid you good day, Squire Paris, and thank you for your time.
A pleasure, Mistress Duarte. Do be careful.
All right. I'm going to take a quick minute break here. I got to go to the bathroom. I've been making tea all morning. That's all I've been drinking. And it's about ready. Bear with me 1 second. I will be back. Listen to the music. Enjoy. The Dad Vader, welcome in. How you doing? First time chatter. Appreciate you being here. I'm just stepping out for 1 second. I need to go to use the bathroom. How are you, by the way, since you're here? I'll chat with you. I can hold it in for another 30 seconds. How's your day? Welcome in. Your name looks familiar. I'm sure I'm following you already. I'm pretty sure I just came back from work. Nice, nice. It seems like my chat is on time. Hopefully I'm not delayed at any minute. It says I have a delay, but I was lurking because I needed to feed the kiddos. Oh, I hear you feeding them. Oh, sometimes it takes away so much. No delay. Nice. That's great to hear. That is great. So here, I was trying to tell all the friends that I have, if it decides to load all right, but it says audio autoplay is disabled. So it doesn't seem like it's working. Nothing's working on the stream. That's all good. Hurry up. Okay, I'll go. I'm gonna be no longer than 30 seconds. Be right back.
Streams on pause, but the hype don't stop. Mr. Mayor's crew, we stay on top. Bop, 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 bop. Grab a snack, stretch it out. Mr. Mayor's coming back, no doubt. Squad still here, chat's alive. Hold the line, we're gonna thrive. Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FPS Street, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FPS Heat, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? What you expect? What you expect? What you expect? Clip the plays, drop the memes. Mr. Mayor's building game of dreams. BRB, but keep it loud. This streams for the bold and proud. The shadows wait, the squad's in gear. Mr. Mayor returns, the moment's near. So hold it down, keep chat lit. We're coming back with that full kit hit. Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FPSC, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FPSC, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? Hold the line, what you expect? Hold the line, what you expect? Mr. Mayor, what you expect? Down, 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 down.
All right, guys, I'm back. And it looks like there's an ad break. Don't know if you guys have ads, but it says that you guys are in ads. Appreciate the lurks. All right, since I had this here and everybody seems to be a little comfy where you are, I'm gonna try checking something out here because nothing seems to be working on my end. My chat commands or I don't know what's happening, but I don't know where it is. Is it my stream elements? Like my timers? Or my chat commands? I have no idea. Like that should work. And then if I go to my chatting scene, there's the globe. So that works. Hey, imagine if you're there, do you want to check in? Is it sound alerts? Chatbot? I have no idea. I turned something off. Which, I don't know, I played around way too much. Ash 100. Is it? 100. Welcome in. How you doing? Sorry, just bear with me here. Do I want to... What? Check in. How's it going? Welcome in. You don't mind me asking you, how did you find me? How's your day? Tell me a little bit about yourself. I'm just working something here with my commands. I'm trying to find how to turn something off. or turn something on. Oh, there you go. Yeah, check-in, that check-in thing. I just want to see it seems to work or not, but management? Is it my commands? But nothing is working. Your notification. There you go. Follows. Want that off. Refollow. Inactive. There you go. I turned that off. So now my followers should all be anonymous. If anybody's out there and you haven't followed me and you do want to, it should not show in chat. But if it does show, I do apologize. I am trying to make it more friendly and more welcoming for everybody who comes through. I know a lot of people walk through doors and never want to show themselves. So if you're here, you want to say hi, go for it. If you don't, all good with me too. And now I want to try my chat command. So if I do, I recently started playing Banishers and looked for a live stream and found you. Also, my day is good. My day is not going too bad. I haven't streamed in about 2 weeks. So just getting back on here right now. Things are working, but not working. And I just taking advantage of this minute that I took a break to try to fix something. So see, even that, my Discord's not working. The command sound works, but not the... Okay. I've just started this game also. It's my first walkthrough, so I have no idea what I'm doing. As it says in my bio, I'm not the greatest player either. So if you have any tips or know anything about it, feel free to let me know. We'll get back into the game now. I don't know, that doesn't seem to work, but I'll figure it out after. That wasn't supposed to show, but I do appreciate the follow. One second. I do appreciate that. I know where that came from. Animations. Is it chat? Oh my god, I don't know where it is. Maybe I need to just hide that. Is it? Oh, I can't hide everything. Okay, no, I appreciate that. If you didn't want me to advertise it, I do apologize, but like I said, I haven't the self-promo tab you have. Thank you. I try every day. I try. I give you a shout out. That's not working either. Usually there's a bunch of things that pop up. But I say, welcome in. And knowing that you were looking for this game, it must have been me. Must have been me that you were looking for. Oh no, not me. Don't get me blushing now. You guys are awesome. All right, let's get back into this game. It is you. No, don't join in. Come on. Oh, and to all the new people that are in here, if you haven't yet already, feel free to use... I have a channel point. What is it called? My daily boost. So it does capture how many times you use it. Every day that you come in, you see me on, feel free to use your daily boost. And yeah, and if you have enough channel points, feel free to use them. I'm trying to make them more affordable for everybody so they can just play noise and sounds and whatnot. I do have chat commands. You can find them in my bio at the very bottom somewhere that you can do in stream. Don't worry, it won't distract me, and if it does, no worries. I'm here for you guys. I'm here to play. I'm here for you guys to teach me also. If you oh I have no idea where that came from, but thank you for that. It's just like one ear to the other. You guys, come on. All right, so what am I supposed to do? Investigate the cemetery. Where is the cemetery? Queen of Dragons. Welcome in. Or should I should do this, right? When you come in.
I should change my voice as Queen of Dragons, welcome in. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you.
I don't know. I'm just playing around. I don't know how all of this works. The range is crazy. Aha, of course. I love that Tumblr. Right? I gotta get used to doing it more often. I had it at one point as a redeem. You guys can change my voice anytime. But I ran out of boards on my my panel that I can use. I don't know. I think it's fun. The more enjoyment and interaction that people have with a stream.
So close to town.
Oh, I thought that was an alert. It was the game. I feel that the more interaction that people can have, the more fun everybody will enjoy themselves. The cemetery is closed by the order of the governor. Let's break it. Wrong button. What do they call these games? When you're always like creeping through the cracks. This game is underappreciated. Really good game so far. Yeah, right? I've been playing, I don't know how long. I've been going on here for an hour and 20 minutes. We'll say an hour full gameplay. So far, I enjoy it. Like I say, I'm not the best here, but
More of you?
like I'm just learning here, remembering. Oh yeah, and that's block. Nope. It happens, right? I think that's the first time I died. Okay, that's good to know. Let's see where I start. Or, okay, I come back here. Okay.
Where are you leading me?
Oh my god. Like, I probably didn't show that, but you just gave me a heart attack there, imagine. You know how loud that is in here? Excuse me, I like froze. Come on. Oh. I think you get me every time with that one. Okay, okay, this is to block, this is to dodge. Ooh. Gets harder every time, right? Is there like
Amit. More of you?
more of them? No, is there like a superpower I can use? No, I don't have any potions. I'm gonna die again. Okay, what was the other thing? What did it say? Block and something. Guys, don't watch the game. Block it. Block the game. Just look at me. I can
Where are you
even
leading
enlarge
me?
my screen so you don't see the game. This is embarrassing. I can't get even past this part. I think this is my first battle. Oh, press B twice to roll. I was pressing it once. Okay, I'm gonna die again. And I'm not usually a controller player, and I'm playing with a controller.
Amit.
Oh, and press at the last moment, it said. No, what happened? Why did she fall on the ground? Why did she fall? Oh no, I'm not blocking anything. I saw it. I've died a few times, so don't be embarrassed. The game gets challenging. I agree, but this is like my actual first fight. Wait, before I get in, what are... oh, that's why I'm dying. Like, my health is already half. Where do I see the health again? Like, it doesn't show there. Like, I'm already at half. How do I... have you gotten further? Can you tell me? That. Is there more I can do? Photo mode? No, I don't want photo mode. You gotta take the juice or go to sleep. But I don't have any juice. And how do I go to... well, I'm not gonna go to sleep. So no wonder I'm getting hit once and... okay, if I'm shouting at you guys, just turn the volume down a little bit. We'll do one by one. Okay, get up.
Last like this. More of you?
Okay, there's one. I don't know if I can handle two.
I could beat you in my sleep.
Yeah, right? Okay. Can I pick that up? What is that thing?
No one is safe here.
Okay, what are these things? Can I pick them up? Spiritual dust? That was a little intense. I did it! I did it! I did it! You have to go to one of your rest spots and sleep. It'll refresh and refresh one potion. Yes, let's go. Okay, where's my rest spot? Out, up and dance with me.
Most of these people died fighting. Someone didn't want them here.
Imagine. We're the same, but different. Is it how it goes? Like this? Just got one potion. How do I take the potion? Can I take it now? Oh, there, that little thing down there. So should I take it now? X, right? Oh, there you go. Okay. Okay, saving here because I just passed a good spot. Something shiny here. Take all that. Yeah, 1/3 you can, but you got to be mindful when you're getting ready to fight. You have, yes, that's what I didn't know. I don't know, for some reason in my mind I thought I had, my health was already full. That's why I was just wondering, like, why am I taking 3 hits and I'm dying? It made no sense to me, but understanding now. I started off with half, if anything less than half. All these shiny things. Insight. As a banisher, you can feel places or objects that have been marked by ghosts. When in close proximity to these elements, your bane rings will trigger and light up with orange aura. Walk around to find the source. Okay. I don't know why this is not going. Queen of Dragons was playing Phasmophobia last. Hope that game scares you a little. Hope it was
I've
good.
seen more graves here than I've met settlers.
Is there anything else I miss? Let's inspect.
A memory lingers here. I might be able to reveal it.
Perform a ritual. Memories of the dead linger here. To reveal them, you must gather the necessary resources. What do I need? Oh, I don't have enough seashore candles. And I need some, what is it, how do you say it? Pyrite?
Seashore candle and pyrite will do the trick for the ritual.
So, what is that I just took? Wintergreen. Oh, it did. The ghost kept wanting me. I could imagine. There's such a great update with that game lately. Like, I think there's a new map. I keep pressing the wrong button. Drinking something I don't own. There's like a new map. I wanted to play it the other day. I just want to see what it's about. What are these? There's the pyrite. And now I need to find some candle, right? Ooh, what are these? Is that what I what's supposed to do? Because Tanglewood had been updated, new map and ghost. Okay, so that I was right then. I didn't know which map it was. How's your day going, by the way, there, Queen? I don't know if I asked you. How have you been? How are you overall?
There should be seashore candle near the water.
Oh, there's 2. Yes. My bad. My bad, Majin. I know how you're doing. I'll stick with Majin. I'll stick with the first names. Queen of Dragons, Sadie. How you been? I don't know. I feel like it's been forever since the last time I talked to you. It probably was a couple days ago, but say it to everybody. Everything feels forever. Maybe I'm just old. I'm just old. I forget a lot. I play these games and I'm just like, oh, where do I go? What do I do? I don't know what I'm doing half of the time. And I like to share that with a lot of people. Like, it's not that I don't want to learn. It's just like, I play too many. I play too many games. And I'm learning. I'm learning to stick to a few. Try to get more comfortable holding this thing. Like... Can you tell me more about StreamerDApp? Do you like it? I love StreamerDApp. Right now, there's not really any campaigns going on because they're changing up all the promotions. But on the other hand, right now, I am promoting with them. I do have campaigns every so often. As you can see up there, when it does appear, there is just a little, I don't know if you want to call it an advertisement link. You do have to keep it on your stream. That's one of the requirements to make any money. They do monetize. There's a requirement to the amount of viewers that you have come through the door. Mind you, I don't have many people, so it shows you can still qualify. I don't even know how many people are in here, but I'm just saying, from the people that I've been talking to, I can't see it being like 30 people, so it is set and made for lower, smaller creators. And then as you build and grow, you still can use them, so there's no maximum expectations, but they help you monetize your stream. So even when you're sitting here just playing your games, having a good time, you can still make a couple bucks. They pay directly through PayPal. I still need candles. And you pick your campaigns that you want to participate in. They do have a stream team. I am a part of it also. And if you ever do decide to join, feel free to click that link and sign up with my name because it is an invite only. Yeah, right? Good choice. Xbox controller. To some I know that play PlayStation. No hate. Okay, I need to... Where can I find this candle? I feel I'm not about... That stung a little. Boo, PlayStation, right? No, I got nothing wrong with PlayStation. I've never played it. I've had the older consoles. The 3 was the last one. And then I went to an Xbox. But I don't know. I think consoles are very similar. Depending on where you find your people. You know, it's easier if you have a whole group of friends on PlayStation. You can get into one party chat and call it a day. There you go. Found it.
There should be seashore candle near the water.
Near the water? Can I go down? Oh, right there. See it. My PSNI just going to go hide. No, don't do that because yesterday you were on and it played out really well. So don't hide. Play some more. Stream some more. Everybody should get on, play some more, and stream some more. Imagine over there, she's also a PlayStation player.
Petty fiend.
I want to try. I think it's funny. I think I know more friends with PlayStation than I do with Xbox. But I don't play on Xbox. I play on PC. How do I get up? Can I climb up there somehow? Okay, do I have to go around? No, I can't go up there. Imagine feel currently to console stream. I want to do that on the one time console stream. Like I still have an Xbox, so I know when I first started streaming, I was on console. I had no overlays or anything.
Wait for us, old friend.
Can't really say I do have any right now anyways, because I just probably don't.
Many dead in more recent years.
Okay, so I gotta perform a ritual, and I'm like, perform the ritual. I got everything. Is it scary? Ash, is it scary? I want to go PC, honestly. I stream from my Xbox console. When to ask for a minute here. I know when you stream on PlayStation, you connect a camera, you can display a little circle or a square and move your camera around. Do you know, Ash, if you stream on console, Xbox, if you can do the same? I've never set my camera up with the Xbox, so I don't know. And I think if you could move it around or change the shape, that would be pretty cool. Console streaming does the job, however, viewers can't use the sound or anything. That's what I noticed with the console. You can't use the alerts because it's not tied into... I think that's what it brings the stream to some, but I don't know. I don't generally use people's alerts anyways. I have them. I have a whole bunch of them. But it's only for you guys to have fun. But if you guys don't use it, you don't use it. Banishers can perform rituals. The nature of this site determines the ritual should be performed. Performing rituals consumes resources. So even if you select an incorrect, to reveal the memories, you need to perform a hearkening ritual. Okay. I want to do this one. This looks fun.
In each stain hides a story.
What do we do? Sprinkle some dust. Who shows?
In the name of the Lord, I command you. Be gone from this place.
You do not command me, clergyman.
Who are you, ghost? Unveil yourself.
Well, since you ask so politely.
Wow, they're just chatting. Who are you? Yeah, who are you?
I am everything you've ever feared.
Be gone! You have no shell, no ties, no purpose.
No, but neither do you.
Oh! What'd she do to him? She done anything? He's crawling away. I want to see. Oh! What'd she do? Shoot him?
Damn it. That thing he faced.
Oh, what was that?
Was it?
Wow, interesting. That's crazy. Portrait obtained. Like, what did she shoot at him? Scared him to death. I know. Okay, what did I miss? How I feel too is missing piece. It really is. No, you can add me on PlayStation if you want to. Definitely. Same username. Yep. Always same username. Everybody has the same username everywhere. And that's another thing. Talking about usernames. So many people rebrand. And I'm like, if I had to ever rebrand, gosh, that would be really hard. I'd have to change my email address or actually get a new one.
With it,
I'd have to pay money to change all my Xbox names, all my Epic names. Charles Bible, found half buried in the mud of the cemetery. It's opened at job 13 when I say my bed shall comfort me. My couch shall ease my complaints. Then thou scare you with dreams and terrify me through visions. Are you guys in ads? Okay, no, never mind. So that my soul chosen strangling and death rather than my life.
I can make him manifest. Back to his grave, then.
Yeah. Where do I go now? What's that pouch one I have pinged? Like, I'm not following that. I'm following the top center. What is that? The checkpoint, I think. That would be the grave, I believe, here. Can I do another one? I don't know. Do I want to? Make the ghost manifest. So I have to do another one. That's a seller of some sort of goods. The pouch.
Now is a good time for we old friends to talk. We've come too far, Red and I, not to see you one last time.
This is getting good.
Your pupil has become the master. If we fight, I'll beat you.
Don't beat me. Oh.
Come on, Charles. Join me now.
I know you're here.
I know you're here. I know you're here.
Oh, that's what he looks
you know
like.
Me, Ghost. I only wish to talk. Esther worries.
Antea, that's her name, right?
At last. Oh,
Poor Esther. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry,
my friend. So sorry for all of us.
What happened? What's going on here?
Sad to say, dear friend, I made a mistake, and it cost me my life. Is Red with you? There is no time to waste.
What do I ask? Why not wait for the help? How did you know this curse began? I don't want to do the first one yet.
This curse began.
What prompted it, I do not know. Nor do I know when. Many months ago, certainly. But I do know this. This nightmare chose New Eden for a reason.
So, a ghost.
This one is different. Implacable. Very clever. Many magnitudes more ferocious than a spectre, and just as relentless.
Why not wait?
Why did you not wait for
Yeah,
our
you
help?
lose chance of asking the question if you do
Despair
the question.
growing. There were
Yeah,
so many dead and
I like hearing all the other
so much sickened flesh.
responses.
So many afflicted souls.
Learning that when I clicked the first option, like I didn't get to ask the rest. So it's nice to know.
Before you died,
Hear
you
more of the story,
investigated
that's
the
way.
curse. What did you learn?
That our enemy is deceptive and merciless. That we should not underestimate its power.
We?
I am dead, dearest Antea. But I am a banisher yet. I may still teach you.
If I allow you, which I do not.
Antea, do not repeat my mistakes. If a nightmare curses New Eden, You need all the help you can get. Its presence felt strongest in the meeting house. Perhaps the light of God there forced it to fight its ground. I had the building closed. The worst of the malevolence is contained, but it won't stay locked up for long.
Oh, there's more. We'll banish this ghost.
We'll banish it, Red and I.
Yes.
Our good friends.
I want to
death
try
shall
doing it
not
again.
Go unpunished.
Be warned. This nightmare is
I did it once and I got scared.
And too powerful to be destroyed.
Your death pains us greatly. Your return pains me too.
I know. For my part, I'm glad to have seen you one last time. To have had the chance to warn you.
I think this was the
I
last.
thought nightmares were a myth.
A nightmare is the rarest of ghosts. A
Powerful, insidious.
spirit, birthed by tragedy most dreadful.
How do I banish it?
There is meager wisdom in the texts. What little there is says it cannot be banished at all.
If it's a ghost, I can't banish it. You
Yes.
took notes, I suppose?
I took
Where might
notes,
I
of
find
course.
They vanished. In the days
Days
before
of
my
the
death.
Perhaps.
Perhaps I mislaid them. Which is not like me. If you find them, read them carefully. Perhaps I missed something. Something important.
How did this nightmare kill you?
I believed that I could come to the cemetery and make it manifest. To my initial delight, it worked. I now suspect it came by choice.
So how far are you in the game, Ash?
Amused. As if it were a pleasant game to weigh my measure as a man.
How does its malevolence manifest?
It poisons minds and sickens bodies. It draws specters to it and sours
Have you gone
the
like
weather.
a lot further than where I am at?
To one's sleep. For a time.
I just want to know, like,
through the night
are
as
there
folk
gonna be more
awoke in
battles
terror.
I'm gonna
When it
encounter?
appeared to me, I did not see its true face. But I heard a woman. She was laughing. I felt her gaze. My heart froze. I died. The spirit is vengeance pure. The ghost of one who was terribly wronged.
I've heard your warning. You can go.
No, I must remain.
Yeah, not too far. A little further than you. I don't want to tell the story, but
You know how
yes,
it works.
the battles and
You know I
monsters.
won't allow that.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind if you spill it because
I can help.
to me, I don't see it
The
until
longer you
I get
haunt
there.
Esther, the hungrier you'll be. You know this.
This is different. I'm the Reverend Charles Davenport, your friend and mentor. You know me.
But if you say the monsters are gonna get bigger, oh no.
I
Oh no.
knew you. You were a good man. Now you are a ghost, and I cannot let that stand. But I swear it, the nightmare will end, and Red and I shall do the ending. Charles Davenport was a good man and a fine mentor.
And you a fine student, though you took a hard line. I never could unpick that from your character. Has life tempered you since?
Life has tempered my steel. Death and the manner of it has made you the very thing you once opposed. Goodbye, Charles.
Goodbye, Charles.
Peace on your soul. Remembrance on your
Antea, wait.
Wait for what? We're banishers.
Yeah,
Death
we're
to the dead.
banishers.
Let Esther choose for herself.
Oh. See
Oh,
that?
Lord,
She
please
just
don't
let him
ask me
go
to
and
do that.
Esther.
he just went
my
back to
good
normal.
wife, and the very best. I miss you so.
I'm so far.
Oh
that
dear
one of the
Lord,
banishers are
Charles,
no longer
why
alive in
are
the
you
game.
here?
I don't even think I'm halfway through
Why
yet.
have you come back? You must leave. Please.
I must stay.
I must protect you. The thing in the meeting house feeds on our torment. I should have known better. I know better now.
Antea, give Charlie the ascent he deserves.
Charles Davenport, you have no reason to stay. Go.
Go.
Let Esther go.
Let you go. You can't see my hand. Let you go. I will release you.
Save her, my friends. And save yourselves.
Save them all. That's the goal. That is the goal. We gotta save everybody.
I'll walk Esther home.
It's so many kisses.
I'll do it. The women can talk.
I'm sure there's so much. Like I've seen at the very beginning when I first started, before you came, there was like so much running around just to explore. I like these type of games, but because it's a playthrough for me, like the first time,
Gave him the care he needed.
I know I have it set in my head, like try to get as much done in so little time. But then you start to learn you need to do more, slower. But I like it. It's a great game so far. I'm glad I picked this one over another one that I was thinking of. Don't ask me the name. Can't remember it right now.
My Charles. Where do you think he is now?
He's... I don't know.
I miss the warmth of his hands. His calm presence in our house. If I close my eyes, I can picture him. He's in a place where sunlight chases the snow away. It is warm and there is fresh milk. The sheets are cleaned and pressed and folded. Nothing can ever be the matter.
You're right. He's at peace, and you deserve to rest.
No, now we run. So it's her that I have to follow, right? Yeah, escorting her home. And then... Oh, it looks like my little pouch up there is... I'm getting closer. Where are we going? Where's your home? Here? Okay, we are here. We here. Right on. We're home.
I'm sorry. I'll miss him dearly. Tomorrow, we'll continue investigating the curse. Good night, Esther.
I am glad you are here. Both of you. We need you.
Can I open to check things out? Oof, this is a big home. Do a little walkthrough. Some food and ale for you. Sorry for your loss. Your neighbors hold you at their hearts. Do I need to look around? This is her place, not mine. A study of H. Purcell Falcone in G minor for strings. The book. I feel that if I don't look for things, I'm gonna miss. Like there's something that you can pick up. There's a lot of these letters from Charles. He wrote a lot. A good writer too. I'm not reading them, I know, but am I supposed to? Should I? I feel if I need to read them, I could go back at them somewhere. by playing the game off stream. What you guys were gonna say? Okay, so I gotta. Oh, who's this lady? Oh, that was her. Sorry. Sorry. Keep going. Oh. Where's the schoolhouse? Who's this guy?
Get out of my way.
Hey, excuse me. Don't need to talk to me like that. Is this where we're going? New Edentown Schoolhouse discovered. Oh, I feel that. Should I move my camera so you guys can read it better? Just taking everything. Rob him. Can I sit here? Oh, sounds like something exciting is gonna happen. Jason, welcome back.
Charles was our friend.
Hope everything was okay and your day is going well.
I love you, Red McCraith.
The game's going great over here.
But when it comes to ghosts, your heart makes you reckless. It's dangerous.
The people are alive and well. In the game, I mean.
Were you really about to banish Charles?
A ghost searching game talking about people alive. Charles would have done the same.
Charles would have done the same for your ghost or mine.
Sorry, could you repeat last audio? I said the people are alive and well.
Charles was a good man.
When I'm playing a game
Banishing his
ghosts.
ghost wouldn't have been easy, but it would have been right.
Lost
Ghosts
audio.
only bring misery.
Lost audio on my end?
Make no mistake, they steal life's essence from the living.
Aye. They don't always do it out of malice. Give them that.
The dead have no business with the living. As banishers, we
are
bring
banishers.
closure.
We
Oh,
end
okay,
suffering
you
for
did.
those who live. We bring closure to those who don't.
Fair enough.
A ghost may suffer too. A sin puts a gentler end to it.
But not a safer one. Better to banish and be sure.
Would you banish me? If it came to it?
Of course I would
You'll not
banish you.
escape me so easy. You I would bring back from the dead.
That's not funny.
I'd
Hey,
fill
this
you with
part
fresh
was in the
essence.
trailer.
I'd give you so much
of the
essence
game.
you'd return bloated with
Would you
life.
banish me?
Steal essence from the living. to
I
feed
like
my
it so
ghost.
far. It's a story game. Not what I expected playing from the last one you've seen me. The other one was like constant asking questions and you weren't doing anything. This one I enjoy better. Because you're
I would,
actually
but
participating
not kill
and
you again
interacting.
For dying before I
Then
did.
you're choosing.
Sometimes you scare me.
I know.
I think Charles was right. This
But it's pretty
thing in
cool.
the meeting house could be
I only get to play it for another 2
a
weeks.
nightmare.
I really hope not. Such entities.
Then
are
I might have to buy it
legendary
if I don't
ghosts,
finish it.
Even for banishers.
Have I thought about playing
We'll see
Walk
tomorrow.
in Dead series?
Now,
I think I
sleep.
have one.
This was a dreadful.
I think it's
day.
like 6 chapters. I think I own them. I just haven't played them. I don't know. It feels. I don't know how I feel, how other people feel, but
Poor Charles.
I just don't want to become that story game
Poor
streamer. Oh, he's playing a story game.
Poor
I
Esther.
tried to keep this like very minimal. But lately, it seems like everything I'm finding is about this, like story games. Henley, I can live without you. Mishka, welcome in. How you doing? Long time no see. I hope you're doing well. It's a long time since I've seen you. Oh my god, and I appreciate you being here, hanging out. I don't know how long you've been here, but wow. You have news. Share. Please share. What happened? What happened?
Where are
Oh
you?
no! Imagine that! Congratulations! Baby number 2 incoming. How do I do this? Can I clap on here? Right on. Let's go. Awesome. No, that's good. That makes me happy to know. Super cool. Nah, I got it. There's kind of... I got a backstory such, but still open world. Yeah. It's a little girl. It's so funny, Mishka. I don't know if this is the right place or the wrong place to say this, but it's fine. I was in somebody else's stream the other day, and her partner called me Misha Bob, which was like really close to your name, Mishka. And I was like, Misha Bob. Where did you get that name from? And then look at this, all of a sudden you're here. You're here. Oh my god. Somebody knew to read the future, right? So it's a little girl. Imagine. When do you know when your due date is? Have you picked a name?
Who's there? Antea?
Is her name gonna be Mishka? Mishka Little Bear Jenkins from Leroy Jenkins. Yeah, I know. In May. Oh, wow. May's coming quick. It's gonna be soon summer, baby, right? That's so exciting for you. I have been wondering, where have you been for the last, I want to say 2-3 months. I know you've been out at concerts and stuff too, but just like, where has she been? Has she forgotten about the world? The path to the meeting house is closed by the governor's decree. Curfew. Stay in the hours of darkness. Stay in your homes. Meeting house. School docks. Cemetery. No name yet. I bet for you, you're gonna choose a cute one. I just know it.
Why would you go up there alone?
I'm gonna change my name to Misha Bob. Or an evil one. No, I don't think there could be an evil little girl's name. Misha Bob. People would question, where'd you get that name from? Hey, I only realized I'm this girl. I'm this character now. I was the woman earlier. Uh-oh. Oh, here we fight.
Don't suppose you spectres have seen Antea, have you?
Hey, this guy seems like he knows how to fight a little bit better. How's the game been? The game's been pretty good. I like it. It's my first time playing this. Like, I've loaded it up, I don't know, 3 times. But I've never played it, and I said I wanted to play it on stream before I don't get to anymore. And so far, so good. I enjoy it. I've been playing a whole bunch of things off of stream, but I don't know why I haven't been streaming. Should do this more often. you know, sometimes computer problems. Yes, and I do see that. I got 3 more potions.
You're the boss and all, but you could have included me.
That's good, but I'm already full health, so I don't need to use it right now. Just want to make sure I'm playing this right. Now that I'm a little bit more focused. Hold on. Where did you go? Mishka was playing Rust. Never get tired of that game. Rust. That's how we met. Oh, so if I hold it longer, does it do anything? No, eh? Oh, what was it? I pressed the wrong thing. I don't like the sounds of the game. What's happening here? It seems something spooky is gonna happen. You guys with me here? Are you guys protecting me too? Rust is the best evil game out. Yes, I know. That's why I haven't played it lately. Yeah, well, I want to say a long time now. I haven't forgotten about it though. I know, the sounds are so creepy. Listen, I could hear it on one side, but not the other. She's coming through my left. Oh no. Oh no. Is she in here? She's in there.
See how they run. See how they
Listen. I can hear everything. That's such a good soundtrack. With all the little details of the wind and...
Blind. All blind. Red, can't you see? We never stood a chance.
Antea, you hurt? Where are you?
I'm here, my love. What happened?
Oh.
I'm here, my love.
It's not her anymore?
Show yourself.
God came to the man in a dream and said, "Behold, thou art dead."
Is it just her body now? Like her spirit is gone?
And said,
Lord,
like,
wilt thou also slay the righteous?
What? She's gone. I've never heard of that game, Rust. You're in for something.
will you slay the righteous?
You're not alarmed.
I don't mean to laugh, but like, Rust.
There is no aid.
What
There
a
is only
game.
dereliction.
Where's Antea? What have you done with her?
Oh!
That was Paul's. Lady, if
Oh,
you
that scared me.
You cling to love, a fool to the last. There is no love.
Look at her.
There is only defilement.
Oh. Oh. There's gonna be an ad soon in like 20 seconds. Oh. Wow. have to fight her?
Your lover will betray you too!
We only wish to speak with you.
Okay, I'm gonna die here, but I'm gonna learn, and I'm gonna... How do I run? Nah. Block. Why are you not blocking?
Betrayer! I believe you fail! Again!
There's no need to fight.
Where'd she go? Can I don't remember. Can I jump? Ah! Nobody told me this.
3 blind mice.
Nobody told me that. It is a really good game.
See how they run.
Vader.
See how they run.
I'm just not prepared for the fights.
See how they run. Red. Run, red, run.
I should be more prepared, but I'm not prepared. My ears are hurting here.
Run, red, run. See how they run. Red.
I don't know. Okay.
Run.
Okay, I still have my potion, so and full now. Okay.
See
I know I came into it again with lower than full.
See how they run. See how they.
Okay, so I can skip this, right? I think this is. Can I skip this? Or I'll just let it play out for a second.
Antea?
Blind. All blind. Red, can't you see? We never stood a chance.
Antea, you hurt? Where are you?
Paused. Hey, Imagine. Thank you for the bit. Currently in Advil. I don't know if you guys are back yet. Wait. Ad starts and is it playing? Is it back? I love it here. I'm back. Welcome back. I paused it. I know we already watched this part, but how do you skip it?
What happened?
I don't even know how to skip. Such a noob. I should know this by now. Oh, I just wanted to see this part again quickly. Oh, so it wasn't her. I thought.
I'm here.
I thought the spirit was in her.
How mundane.
Show yourself.
God came to the man in a dream and said,
I love that you love it here, there, Ash, and I'm glad you found me.
But the man had done nothing wrong and said,
Lord, wilt thou also slay the righteous?
What? Okay, now I can skip. If I think Imagine. Oh my God! Thank you so much.
will you slay the righteous?
Oh shit!
Be not alarmed. I bring you aid.
There is no aid.
Imagine.
There is only dereliction.
Where's Antea? what have you done with her?
I can't concentrate. I need to concentrate.
Like, if you hurt her,
you cling to love, a fool to the last. There is no love.
I need to concentrate.
There is only defilement.
Oh. This part was so cool. I know I'm watching it again, but like my mind is processing it. Like, she's so powerful, and I'm supposed to try to defeat her. Like, no, wait, Majin. Hey, let's go. You're...
I believe you failed again.
We only wish to speak with
I don't know what's happening here. Thank you for the redeem of the daily boosts. Hope you get some good energy here. Oh no! How do I drink my potion? There you go. You guys, I have no idea what's going on.
You don't understand, do you?
I hear noise. People are redeeming things. Capture my... What's happening? Majin, I just see your name on the side.
You will suffer like I do. I can barely feel a thing.
Wait, is it? Where's roll again? Oh, that one's roll. Okay, now I can roll. Okay, I get it. Which one do I get? Hey, this is not fair. This is not fair. Yes, block. Oh my god, you guys are awesome. Oh, you guys, I'm here like I'm... My mouth is getting so dry. Okay, now I can... Hello, is it me you're looking for? Okay, we don't need to watch the story again. We can just skip it. Okay, so I can roll. So attack, roll, and hit. The bosses are intense in this game. I see that. And I'm only at normal difficulty. Like, I could have went easy, but I usually just play normal on every level, but I feel there's a difference though, like when you're streaming and you're playing without stream.
Betrayer, I believe you failed again.
We are not your enemy.
Stop it. Oh.
You too will be consumed.
Where is he? Or where is she?
There's no need to fight.
No, I'm moving around like I'm playing a car game or something. Oh. No.
You will suffer like I do.
We...
I think if I just keep moving. Oh, did I miss it? Where is she?
You can't reach me.
Oh no, dodge, yes. I'm trying. Oh, that is so intense. How many times am I gonna have to do this to I'm just seeing everything you guys are saying on the side here. And I'm like, I don't want to miss anything, but I'm trying to. All right, this time I'll get it, right? I think the last time I did 3 and
See how they.
And then I think after this, I'll just tell you guys go take a break, and then when you come back, I'll have it completed. You're not alone. I've died more than that. I didn't think it would be so difficult, like so soon in the game. But I guess her being a boss, right? I just feel my reaction is so slow. Like not my fingers, but like the button. It's like I'm pressing dodge and roll, but it's not reacting. That makes sense.
Your lover will betray you too. There's no need to fight.
Imagine.
I can barely feel a thing.
I'm just trying to stay away from her. No, come on.
Your lover will betray you too. We only wish to speak with you.
Oh, I hate it when there's three. Impossible.
You will suffer like I do.
Impossible. Impossible. Can I change difficulty?
3 blind.
Holy cow. And my hands are getting all sweaty. Like, oh, you guys are awesome though. Imagine. Thank you for all the biddies. I appreciate you. If you guys haven't followed Majin yet, she doesn't stream very often or at all, but she streamed today. Yes, I know. I got this, I think, somewhere. Wait, can I go into the options? I'm not going to change it, but see, you can't even change it. What's it? What's this auto relock? Maybe I have something on that I shouldn't have. So imagine combat auto relock. Aim assist mouse. Okay, I'm using controller, so I'm good. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yes, you can do it. Just takes timing and patience. How are you? Are you pressing that little button? Like I'm just hearing. Okay. Is there a better game plan? Ash, you could do it. Just takes timing and patience. It's hard to take the time and patience when I have 3 sections that I have to get past. I keep hitting from a distance. Yeah, I think I'm learning that too. I think I just need to.
We want to help.
So what's a better hit? Like that one seems like a. Wait, this is a fail. This one. Because I feel that you can hit your attack stronger, but it's slower. Yeah, it's slower. Like, she really doesn't like me. hit doesn't seem like it's very effective.
You don't understand, do you?
Yeah, not happening.
Betrayer.
Like, I'm already... I have to hit them. Holy cow. Is there a way to parry in this game? I don't know what that means. Like, I know I gotta dodge and roll a lot more than I am doing now. But I've come to that point where I know I'm gonna be doing this over and over for a long period of time. And it's gonna get frustrating.
See how
But I'm just trying to, like,
Again.
We are not your enemy.
hit nothing. My sense of direction where she is, like,
You too will be consumed.
There's no need to fight.
oh no. Oh, I forgot to take my thing.
Forgive me.
3-hit roll away from her strike, then repeat. Yeah, I think so, right? So 3 hit, and then roll. Yeah, she does the same thing over and over, so.
3 blind mice. See how they
Okay, let's try this again. One more.
You will suffer.
I got this, I think.
We are not your enemy.
I want to stay behind her. See, like, the blocking doesn't block fast enough.
Betrayer. I believe you fail. Again.
We want to help.
Where'd she go?
Your lover will betray you too.
We want to help you.
Can I pick something up? What happened? Why did I do that to her? No, what happened? What did she do to me?
Where's Anthea? If you've laid a finger on her...
You what? Come to her aid? There is no aid.
Pressing A to use your banishing power. Can I press A now? Or is it too late?
Retribution.
Give him back.
How touching. You come to claim your man. You think you love him. You do not.
What happened here?
There, in the dark
Did I get it?
of your marrow, there is no...
I know I didn't get her, but
Only
am I
betrayal.
past this part?
I offer you a trade. He stays and you
I'm gonna
leave
ask
with your
Ash.
life.
She knows this game. Spoil it for me. Let me know.
You have a brain, yet you think with your idiot heart. You're weak.
Get her! Get her! No! No. Well, this is crazy. I'm in shock.
Will you come to her aid now?
Rest in.
When all is lost?
She's gone. Oh, and he dropped me, or she dropped me.
If you do, I'll be waiting.
What happened? What happened?
The icy ocean made a diamond from his grief, then buried it in his heart.
I thought I had to, like, destroy her.
The weight of his failure dragged him down. Outside time, drowning in the gloom, he spoke her name.
Oh, that's Majin. Hey, let's go. What
Take
happened?
me instead, he screamed, soundless, to the cold and silent waters.
Is the game just starting now?
Out beyond the black veil of death.
Don't tell me that was just
Something heard his cries
the introduction.
and reached for him.
Oh, I'm so lost right now.
Let her go.
At this point on, the game gets so good.
Let her go.
At this point, the game gets so good. I don't know how much longer I have. My children get out of school soon. I want to play this all night. Oh, wow, that was so intense. That was awesome, though.
Ah, you're awake.
Who are you?
She who rescued you. Tended you for days on end. Weeks, maybe.
We. Oh, God. What have I done?
I've been
Your
waiting for
strength's
you
back
to
before you
get
beat
to the
yourself
part
up.
so I can see your reaction.
She's dead.
What?
Yes. It's why you're here,
You should try Bloodborne.
and why
I'll look
was sent
into
to
it. Is it
look after
free?
you.
I'll try anything once. But I'm still shocked.
I feel like we've met, but
We're,
I'm sure we have not.
I have no words right now
I feel
about this.
I know
Like,
you forever. But do I?
she just dies.
You're confused. It's normal. You've been near killed by a nightmare, you've lost your beloved, and now you've a witch by your sickbed.
Which?
Witch. I go by Seeker. Find the Banisher.
Oh, that's still
someone.
okay though. $20.
Tend him and answer any questions.
As long as
he
it's not
asks you
those
before you
$100
leave him
games.
be.
I can't do those
So,
$100 games.
How do
Like
you
there's a new
feel?
one out right now that
Doesn't
everybody
matter.
is flooding to and
Of course it
playing.
matters.
But
Means you're alive and you haven't given up.
I just wait a little bit longer.
This nightmare. How it spoke. How it tore right through her.
It was so sad when,
Never seen the like of it.
right? Like,
Few have.
it's not what I expected either.
Fewer have lived to tell of it.
Like,
What drew such a powerful spirit here?
Who knows? Something awful, I don't doubt.
I don't know. It's
The worst angers rise
Not
from the
what I
most
thought.
terrible wrongs.
good game though.
A friend said that.
I give it that. That's a good one. That's like a
Inimitable
complete
law.
like
You have wise friends.
switch here. Not
Who sent you?
Her name is Ceridian, and my hands and words are hers. Beyond that, don't burden yourself.
I never noticed that lady's legs got straw. Yeah, it's like her protection or something. You should have let me die.
You should have let me die.
What are you, a child? Are they teaching self-pity in Banisher School now?
So what do I do? How do I do? How do I do it alone?
How do I do it alone?
You're not alone. Have faith. If Ceridian had told me more, I'd tell you it. But you must have faith.
I'm trying, but even me as the player, I'm like, do I continue? Like, yeah, it's true. Easier.
Faith. You say that you do
Easier
not
said
know me.
than done. Yeah, right? Like,
Easy said. Harder done.
What comes easy in
I've
life
run out
tends
of
not
tea.
to matter. It's the hard stuff that counts. You've a hole in you. A yawning, grimacing pit in your soul. That's love, that is. The hole won't fill because the love won't die.
God, what have I done?
Here's the thing. Unlike most, you get a second chance. I suggest you seize it.
Why do you hate me?
I serve my mistress. She bids me help you.
why
so
do
I
you
help you.
aid me? Where'd
Ceridian
she
says the
come
war
from, this
between
one?
the living and the dead is under threat. You, it seems, have a part to play.
There's just so many ads
This is mine.
coming again.
You've lost me.
No, I found you. But so did your grief. And it demands to be felt. You may think you're done with your ghosts, Red McCraith.
She found
They
him in the
aren't done
water.
with you.
Well, yeah, because he fell into
I'll
the
go
water,
now.
but where did she
Rest.
come from, though?
Why ever my mistress saved you, she has
In-
good reasons. The best.
In the rocks?
Where are you going?
Just living here? Like, it
Home.
looks like
To Ceridian.
the
She needs
layout
me.
where she's in.
Where shall I find you if or when I need
They got
you?
fish hanging in the back.
Maya Marshes. Great big swamps, other side of the woods. You can't miss them. We'll know when you're coming.
Till we meet again then.
That's right, Banisher.
Not
Now,
too far from you
turn
now.
around.
What?
Well, let me know when I
I'm
do, because
leaving.
then I can just stop it. Then I'll let you play, and then you can come back to see me play. And then tell me where to go then. I don't want to ruin it for you either. But in all honesty, though, I may be ending soon. Know me first. No.
I don't want to spoil it for you.
The ends of the earth. Quest started. Like, look at this. That's so cool, though. Can I pick any? That's my checkpoint, I believe. I have these buttons I can, if I need to. Why didn't I do that in the first place when I was trying to fight her? That's fire. I need buttons. I have way too many buttons. I don't even know what to do with them. Like, I have no idea what half of them do because I forget. I don't title them. Seems like I'm getting further in the game where it like stutters again. Like new content. Yes, let's go. Oh, I don't want to go in there again. Is there something else just for now? I don't want to miss anything. Let me check out this first. You know, it's here. I never want to miss anything now. See, like leather. Can I not go there? Pirate? Yes. Thank you. Okay, I think I'm okay now. Think you guys are in ads. If you guys can bear with me 1 second, I'm gonna go get some water. And I'll be back in a few minutes. Feel free. Don't go nowhere. I like it when you guys are here. I like it.
Streams on pause, but the hype don't stop. Mr. Mayor's crew, we stay on top. Bop, 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 bop. Grab a snack, stretch it out. Mr. Mayor's coming back, no doubt. Squad still here, chat's alive. Hold the line, we're gonna thrive. Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FPS Street, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FPS Heat, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? What you expect? What you expect? What you expect? Clip the plays, drop the memes. Mr. Mayor's building game of dreams. BRB, but keep it loud. This streams for the bold and proud. The shadows wait, the squad's in gear. Mr. Mayor returns, the moment's near. So hold it down, keep chat lit. We're coming back with that full kit hit. Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FBSC, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FBSC, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? Hold the line, what you expect? Hold the line, what you expect? Mr. Mayor, what you expect? Pow, 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 time, pow, time. Streams on pause, but the hype don't stop. Mr. Mayor's crew, we stay on.
All right, I'm back. I got some water. Still lost for words here of what's going on in the game. Hit me up on the Discord later. Yes, I will. I saw you message earlier, but I didn't respond back to it. Imagine. No, that glowing ball you saw hanging. That's a protective lamp, some sort, to keep the bad spirits away. Oh, okay. I thought it was like a checkpoint, so I knew where I was in the game. All right, so. Oh. Can you guys try that channel point for me? Imagine. I added that. That's same, but different. Anybody? It's okay. Don't do it both at the same time now. Eventually you'll be able to shoot. No! Did you guys see that? Did it switch? You're supposed to tell me when you're gonna take a picture of me. Imagine, you know, that automatically goes to the Discord. Like every picture you take of me just goes right to the Discord. It actually puts two photos, one of me and one of the game. Ash, if you're not part of my Discord, it's not very active, but if you have it, feel free to join because I use it for chat for certain games. If we play and we can't use game chat, then it's just another place to be able to chat with each other. For myself, considering because I'm on PC, that's the only route I have. I know some people to play on PlayStation. There's PlayStation chat, but I can't get that on PC. I've tried my best. That's the worst photo ever. I don't want to go back and look at it, but I might have to. Don't be taking pictures while I'm playing games now. Like, I don't even know what it does. Does it open up a big screen? Like the whole screen? Does it put my face on there? Yeah, no worries. Go, bye-bye. I will talk to you later. I appreciate you coming in and all the biddies and all the fun times you've had. Like, that's the word. They called these games wall crawlers.
Damn it. What am I doing here?
In order to get one section to another, you have to crawl through the walls. Oh. Is there anything over there? Should I explore? I hear somebody in my left ear humming away. Is that? I know her name. I'm gonna say her name wrong, but is that Anita? For some reason, I have Anita in my head. I don't know who that is. Can I climb up there? I feel this is the one game. Just thought of it now. You can't jump. You can do this. Just join this. Aw, you're too kind. I appreciate you. Joining the family. Like I said, don't expect too much out of it. It's not very active, but I'm trying. So I'm hoping, and considering that you do stream too, maybe this could be a good way to grow it together. You know, I said to a lot of people, whoever joins it, feel free to post when you go live. Feel free to mingle and chat with people as you get to know. I don't know, there's not many people there, but I'm sure everybody is willing to participate and play games together. Like you said earlier, you stream, so it's a good way to network. Do I jump over? Oh, yeah, okay. I was thinking I missed something. Yes, build community. That's the main goal, right? Like, I know a lot of big time streamers, I know a lot of small streamers, and you learn from everybody, but then sometimes I know everybody wants to do their own, but I don't, if you're thinking or wondering, I don't ever expect to have this big giant Discord. I just don't think I'd be able to handle it. What happened? The threat indicator points to the enemies that are out of sight. Well, is that what that is? The different colors indicate red incoming, orange incoming. Okay.
What? Come on, you mongrel!
I didn't know. I don't want to do this to animals, but sorry, little guys. You guys. I agree. Nothing wrong with learning from each other. Well, that's it, right? Everybody has a different journey, a different path. I find, just to take a minute here. And I feel that every stage in life that you are on this path of journey of streaming or in regular gaming or just life itself, you learn something new. And for me, like, I've been in this journey for, like I say, 2 years coming, but I took a break for like 7 months. like a heartbreak. I stopped streaming. I stopped interacting. I stopped going on Twitch. I didn't watch anybody. And it was like, what's my goal? What's my plan? And then starting to reflect and starting to join in other groups, finding different communities on other platforms. And it's like, what do I want at the end of the day? Right? And this is what I'm learning is like, take it easy, get on, do your thing, build your people, build your growth, interact and get to know. So everything I learn, I take it. But I always try to learn with benefit, right? Like, so if you're learning and you're not putting it to use, then what was the point of learning? So for me is, I've come around, I've learned to play with a lot of people and I enjoy it. I know games like this, you can't play with people, but I like the interaction to play with other people. So there's my goal, is to build growth. So when you get on a game, or if they're on a game, nobody to feel shy. All you got to do is just reach out and, hey, you got a half hour, you got an hour free, and you can play with each other. And not everything always has to do with streaming, so it's one way to find and interact with people. But if you're playing games and you don't want to stream it, you don't have to, right? Can't go under there? Like, I'm looking down here. I don't know which way I came from now. Did I come from here? Yeah, I came from here. And I went down there. So I gotta go up there. And across. Yeah, my sense of direction is horrible in this game. I should look at the compass to know which way I'm supposed to go. Oh. There's something there. Did I get that one? I'm trying to look.
Am I the last bloody living soul here?
Oh, there's something here too. Take it. Take it all. There's another checkpoint. Oh, that's cool. He can climb. I thought he can only... Oh. Uh-oh. Come on. No, I gotta drink my thing. Sometimes it's a little too late for that. Why is it not turning? What's happening? It's not turning. My fingers are not going. Wow. Wow. Okay. All right, I'm gonna pass this one here, and then I'm gonna probably call it here. For now. Last battle. keep them together. Oh, that was good. I think I'm getting better. I'm getting better at this game, and I'm gonna end soon. Come on.
What is happening?
Oh.
What? Antea?
Is there more? Of course there's more. Find Antea. I thought she died. I need her spirit, right? That's what it is. I thought I would have picked up more from the dogs and the wolf. Where am I? It's so cold, so cold. Where are you coming from?
Oh, there.
You up here?
Oh, God.
Pick those up? No.
This isn't happening. This can't be happening.
I do appreciate the game with the navigation. All I had to do is just look up to know the direction I'm going. Like some open world games, without it, like you're just exploring and spending so much time doing other things. I like the idea of this. It shows a certain path that you're supposed to be going.
Aloha, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, where are you? And how much of this stuff can I carry? That's another thing. Oh, okay. I think if I find her up here.
I'm here. Lead me to you.
Was I not just up there? Oh, I'm in a different section now. Okay. Oh, blocked and unblocked at the wrong time.
Spectres. Here.
Antea, are you there?
Oh, you're here.
Right here. My love. Right here.
You're here. You're here. I found you.
It is you. No!
No. Oh, nice. You saved her.
I have you.
You have me.
Okay, I think after this scene, We come, and then you just disappeared.
Don't go.
I'm here. Follow me.
Yeah, I want to follow you, but
Where are you going?
Over here.
yes, it is. But I'm trying to pause it so I can I can finish up.
I have you.
I'm right here. Where are you?
Yeah, I don't even know where you are. I appreciate everybody who's still hanging out and lurking. If you're there, you guys are awesome. I appreciate everybody for taking the time out of your day and busy lifestyles just to come by to say hi. Ash, I really do appreciate you popping by, hanging out. I don't know how far I would have gotten into the game without your support in this. It's been absolutely fantastic to have the guide and the support. Keep going. I think you're about to find a resting spot point and save. You think so? Such a nice story though, like everything about it. At the beginning, I was just like, we'll just swing it. We'll wing it. And then as you get closer, you're like, damn, there's a good story to this. And she's right here.
You seem weak. You need rest.
Bring her back? Can I bring her back?
I feel hollow.
I wish I could bring her back.
Do not be troubled.
How could I not be? To have lost you and found you like this. And you're hungry.
That's one way to say it. Yes.
What can I do?
Charles's Bible. The tie that bound his ghost. Some essence remains upon it. For now, it will do me.
I'll have a choice later. I hope so. Sorry, I was reading something. It'd be nice to bring her back. I think she's like one of the main characters, right? Oh.
I needed this. I feel better.
Look at you. At us.
I know.
Don't get me wrong. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're back. Truly.
The living should not truck with the dead. I've known that since childhood. I learned the hard way.
You never told me this. What happened?
It was a lifetime ago. For now, it doesn't matter.
How are you feeling?
Awful.
And with a few more words.
He was gonna ask, are you still hungry?
Frustrated, useless. We should talk about what happened. After the meeting house, I mean.
Only a guy would ask that, right? Are you still hungry? Do you remember?
What do you remember from after you died?
I remember the suddenness of my death.
I remember nothing but...
After that, a nothingness. timeless, lost.
That's too
And then
bad.
I
Like,
heard you. You spoke my name. I searched for a way back.
I woke up in a cave. Been rescued by a young woman named Seeker. A witch's apprentice. She was proud to tell me that. Her mistress had sent her to take care of me.
Witches rarely show themselves. Intriguing that one would help us.
we should go back to New Eden Town. We should run away. I think we should run away. But I think this is part of the story.
I think we should go back to New Eden Town.
I agree. To free me, I believe we must reclaim my body. I refuse to be this way. I'll not abide it.
I'm so sorry, my love. How can I help?
We have to go
I'm
in.
a ghost. You're a banisher.
I'll not banish you. I cannot Antea. So you die. You can't ask that of me.
If that's what I wanted, you'd have no choice.
Yes.
But you don't wish
You
it, do
have to do it.
Not before I've had my revenge. Not before I've seen the nightmare defeated. By you and me both.
Could I bring you back?
In the schoolhouse, he joked about bringing me back to life. Is that possible?
Yes. The ritual of lesser palingenesis. It's extremely difficult. Highly dangerous.
I could try, right? You'd teach me and I'd bring you back.
Red.
I want to bring you back.
Ritual.
Even I want to bring her back.
Power. It consumes essence in large quantities. We're talking about human sacrifice. Murder.
Just maybe.
Okay, just want to bring you back.
We could consider it. I mean, if there's the slightest chance I could bring you back, I'd take it.
Yeah.
It's a dark ritual, Red. It's tempting, and that's dangerous. To think of being back in your arms. I'm tempted too.
Could I give you your assent?
That would be the simplest solution,
But not the easiest.
Why?
Have you made it to
body's
this
not
far yet?
high, and
Ash?
the nightmare still holds it.
In the meeting house, but
Or this is all new to you?
before she let me fall, I swear she dared me to come back.
She's as devious as she is powerful. She won't just hand it over.
Then what shall we do?
If we are to return to New Eden Town, we must first learn more about our enemy.
Charles said nightmares don't appear without good reason.
Yes, we have a mystery to solve, witches to meet, people to find, and questions to ask. And then you'll help me go, one way or another.
No, I made it this far, but you're probably
I swear it, Mother.
3 hunting cases away from
You
me.
need it. I'll stay close.
Oh, it's all this now. Antea has unlocked her first manifestation and veil. Each manifestation gives access to a new threshold, increasing Antea's potency, talents, and presences. As they are bound together, Antea and Red share the same evolution tree. You can unlock Antea's presence with essence and Red's talent with skill point. You may freely change your mind about them along your journey. Interesting. Well, that's so cool. Oh, I didn't know you could look around. Tag team. The 4th light attacks triggers. I think that's what I need. Invigorate. Banishing an enemy increases the damage of the next heavy attack by 200%. Oh, maybe I need that to pass the boss. Each enemy hit by the light attack increases the damage of light attacks by 10%. This effect can be accumulated, reset on being hit. I read this one already, but the 4th attack triggers a punch attack that ignores resistance. Yeah, it's cool. You see that? She just comes into the picture. and smacks him in the face. Your power ups. It's getting real now. Yeah, it's getting real, and my time is coming to an. I want this one because I have a feeling that I'm gonna encounter another boss, and at least if I can hit with the heavy attack, it can knock him. It's just getting started. Oh, you can refund it. How many? Do I have to do 2? Perfect switch. Costs 15 spirit points every time. I want this one too. This one's cool. I don't know what to pick. I like these ones. All right, we do both. You don't have to, but you can. Oh, I like to buy all. And look at that. I'm only on level 3. Okay, and this one, nothing. Here you go. There you go. Now I rest. But I think I'm gonna call it an end on this one here. Now that they're resting. And I think this saves the game, right? Upgrade your equipment. So now I need to upgrade the equipment first. Shelters allow you to upgrade. Available upgrades 4. And fast travel lets you. How do I feel that I've played this for so long already and it seems like it's just the beginning? Make that make sense. Upgrade your equipment. Upgrading your equipment improves the bonus but requires resource. You can access the upgrades menu by hovering an equipment and slot pressing. Okay. So I need to upgrade. I want to upgrade this. I don't want that. I want to upgrade my sword or whatever you. Oh, it's all locked. Oh, can I do that? What does it cost? Oh, it just goes up by 1. Okay. I upgraded my weapon. Block damage, 85%. Can I upgrade this? Health recovery, 65%. That's what I need. No worries, Jason. I appreciate you being here. I thought you were gone for some reason. I am going to be ending pretty shortly. So whoever is all still here, I would appreciate it if you guys just hang tight and go with me while we raid. It would be very nice and more than appreciated if you saw me on again next time and came by and said hi again. I think I'm at my point. Yeah. So it's saved here now. So there, find an exit. So I don't know what to do. Do I keep going? Ash, this is find an exit, but there's never gonna be an end. Oh, I don't know. Let me look on here for a minute. I don't know who's even on. I have people like, once you find an exit, you'll have to find another rest. So it's not done there. I've been wanting to raid people that I don't know. but sometimes I want to raid people I do know. Just because I want people to know that I'm back up and alive. But I haven't been on here, and I don't know, like I say, I haven't been here long enough to. Some people I can raid, but I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think? New people? Hey, Spectre 4, welcome in. How you doing? I'm actually just ready to raid out. I'm trying to find somebody, if I know anybody that is new on my end. But I do know some very supportive people here that maybe I'll raid out to this one. His name's Geek Dad. Or I could raid out to this one, that this girl I know, she's pushing for partner, which would be pretty cool. She's playing, yeah, she's playing Little Nightmares. I wonder if I can raid to her. Yeah, that would be nice. Help her out a little bit to get to her goals, because eventually that'll be all of our goals. So let me see if we can do that. I don't know. I appreciate everybody who's here and hanging out. You guys have been more than awesome, and Ash, it's not over. I know you said that, but it's not over. Have fun, my friend. Sorry I missed you. No worries. If you want to just hang out, we can go raid somebody. I'm sure that you'll see me on again. It's just I have to go get my children. They're coming home from school soon. And I'm gonna put out this message here, and it does not show. Yeah, there's something wrong with my raid messages. Oh, nothing's working. Going to class, be safe. No worries. But I'm gonna raid her, and then we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, it all works out. But I do appreciate everybody. Thank you for hanging out. I will get on and come on soon. Thank you all. And we will see you again next time. Ash, we'll talk. We'll see how far we are in the games. Everybody else, I appreciate you all. Bye for now.
The stream is ending. Mr. Mayor wants to say thanks to all who joined today for your cheer.